Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. Certainly, round 4 here of the F1 Creator Series, and it sends us to the Italian coast. We're off to Monza, folks. Heart of Milan. Pleasure to be here. Obviously, the food is great. Not that we can sample any, because A, I'm from Wales, and obviously Badgerman is German-bound. Am I right, Badgerman?
Yep, that would be correct.
Oh,
yep.
I'm so good. Yes, so tonight we're moving onwards and upwards, round 4, and I tell you what, a sense of buzz and excitement here tonight. We have got none other debuting here tonight. It's Devin Butler, folks. He has joined the Creator Series. He's fed up of going wheel to wheel with Aiden Jackson, and he wants a better competition. So apparently he wants to race these yahoos, Badgerman.
Yeah, and it's very exciting, obviously, for all of us here to have someone that actually featured in multiple F1 games. But I think, for me, it will be even more satisfying if he gets taken out for all the shenanigans that we've seen him do in F1 2021.
He's responsible for many, right? He's responsible for many.
Sorry?
He's responsible for many, I think, isn't he?
Very many, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The hatred that he has attracted through his actions, I think, quite severe, quite severe. And there's going to be a little bit of satisfaction. That being said, I hope the drivers do behave. If they don't, there'll be a little bit of joy there, a little bit of Schadenfreude, since we were on the topic of Germany. But yeah, no, very exciting. I'm very interested to see what he can do, how quick he is actually on this game. Because, it's one thing being an actor represented in a video game. It's a very different thing to actually play that video game. So, I've seen a couple of videos. Obviously, Tim at Marduk had one with him a while back where he played with him. And I'll put it lightly, my expectations are beatable. Let's say that.
Well, there we go. I mean, let's just wait and see what he will deliver. I mean, we are to expect shenanigans, folks. We've seen it quite a few times. Obviously, if any of you have been tuning into obviously the F1 games in the past, obviously going back to F1 21 was, of course, the great storyline where Aiden Jackson would debut in his Formula 1 career alongside that of Devin Butler as well. Obviously, causing friction between that of Casper Ackerman and Aiden Jackson in order to try and get a leg up on the competition. It turns out it didn't work in the end. Obviously, when they moved on to the second season as teammates, Casper Ackerman and Aiden Jackson would eventually mend their divisiveness in the team and would eventually go on to beat said team being driven, or certainly one of the drivers that being that, of course, Devin Butler, who would lose out. But now he is here in the F1 Creator Series. He's going to cause even more chaos here, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be absolute carnage. Can't wait for it. If we have a look at some of the stats, so at the moment, Alex Gillen very, very much in control at this stage. Badgerman, he certainly looks like the man to beat right now. Certainly across the entire stats, and I'm talking fastest laps, pole positions, and also for that note as well, race wins too.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. His domination was just something that I don't think anyone expected out of him in the first 3 races, to win all 3, and that as a reserve as well. So just absolutely incredible. But he's not here tonight, so the chances are there for the other 20 drivers that will join the grid today to finally nab their first victory this season. Obviously, some of them have won in our first season already. But yeah, there's a lot of drivers, I think, that we have to consider for a potential race win. I mean, just think GB68, the guy who's always been unlucky. He's always been up there in terms of pace.
He's capable.
Many podiums to his name, many third places. I think 3 in total over his Creator Series career so far. But no win. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Maybe that's going to change today. We've obviously got Meraki without the JL from now on. That I was about to say it, then I realized that's why I said
He's still JL in all our hearts.
Yes, he is. Who was actually racing, a couple of guys were, in the Sebring 12-hour on iRacing earlier today. El Takumen being another one of those who were racing in that earlier today. And they've been doing quite well, both of them in separate teams. So you know, how much does that change their ability to drive on F1? How much time do they need to get back into the rhythm from Sebring, a very bumpy circuit with LMP cars? I think they were both in LMP2s. Or certainly with LM cars, let's call it that, because the LMDH is not an LMP necessarily. Then we've got Tom. We've got Tiamat Marduk, of course, the Silverstone race winner last year. We've got Bushy Ant back in the car. So plenty of drivers. Safzo, the champion, the reigning champion, can't forget him. Many, many, many drivers capable of a victory here at Monza. And don't forget, it's Monza. There are only 11 corners around here. There are only really, well, 2 proper braking zones and then 2 braking zones-ish. So it's a very fast circuit. It will be very difficult for anyone to drive away. This is going to be 53 laps of pure, unadulterated action.
Certainly will be, and I think certainly a Monza, a fast-paced circuit that certainly opens many doors, but can also shut some right in your face as well. Given the fact that you've got corners like the Ascari chicane, so quick, raised curbs as well, sausage curbs that make any driver dread. Obviously tackling that section at speed. If you are not careful, you are gone, folks. But we'll look forward to this, because naturally some of these drivers tend to be a bit zealous when it comes down to the throttle usage, but I'm sure we'll look forward to that. Big thank you to everyone in the live chat, by the way. Guys, you have been sensational lately. An incredible rise this series has actually seen. We're now up to 1.3k followers on Twitch. I think that is phenomenal. So a big thank you to every single one of you there in the live chat. Obviously, I can see you all there in there as well. The likes of Alfie, I see you, my man. Gareth Allen, great to see our fellow commentator in the live chat as well. Great to see you, my friend. Rio was found. Great to see you too, man. Hope you guys are keeping well. Tobias as well. Who else have we got in this chat? We've got plenty, surely. I know I've seen quite a few. FedEx is there. First-time chatters as well. MK10 Gamer. Setar Elvin as well. Hello. And a big hello to Fletch as well. Setar Elvin, incidentally, coming straight off the back of an exciting FE race, Formula E, for those of you who are unsure what that is. Now coming across to the Creator Series. Things just got better for you.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't want to, put down Formula E too much, but this is better. Quite frankly, I mean, in Formula E, you know, you've got no sound of the engines, you've got some city circuits that look weird. Here we've got Monza, you know, the Temple of Speed. Where else could you hold a race better than Monza? The Royal Park here, I mean, just fantastic circuit. One of my favorites. Not number one, but, you know, it's certainly up there. And, you know, these drivers, again, the beautiful thing about the Creator Series, and I think this is something that we actually have as a unique selling point over even F1 esports, is that there is a little bit of a skill gap between the drivers. If you look at F1 esports, those 30 drivers that are in F1 esports, they are the best of the best, and they are maximizing everything they can, and there is almost no skill gap. It's this. Yeah. In the Creator Series, it's more like this.
Yes, it is.
Where the 20 drivers fit in. So, you know, there is opportunities for overtakes. There's opportunity for mistakes. And it just makes the races a bit more random. And I think a little bit of randomness is probably a good thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think so too. And bear in mind as well, speaking of obviously of the Americas now stepping into Formula One a lot more. Obviously, we've got quite a lot going on in terms of the United States, not to mention Mexico. Of course, we've got the Mexican Grand Prix over there. And now we've got, it'll be 3 races very soon in the United States as well, with, of course, Texas currently being there. Of course, we've got Miami at the moment. You know, Las Vegas is just around the corner. But we've got Punju joining us here tonight in the Creator Series 2 as well. So a brand new creator joining us alongside that of Devon Butler here in this championship. Very exciting, and a nice lad as well. I know that I know that Mr. Dale is very fond of Punju. I managed to speak to him properly for the first time in his chat the other day. Very excited about being part of this event. Was actually very surprised to actually get the invite to become part of this. Was so keen to join. Didn't think in a million years he would be able to get in, but here he is now. After speaking to him last week, he's in here tonight and he is buzzing, and we will be seeing some picture-in-picture of Punju as well, without a doubt. But yes, guys, it's a pleasure to have you all here. Great to have you. The drivers are just about to get themselves ready. Like we alluded to, though, no Alex Gill in here tonight. The interesting dynamic is this. How is Devon Butler going to fare being partnered with Tom at the Alpine team?
I mean, that's a match made in heaven, isn't it? Really?
Pretty much.
I mean, you've got the arch nemesis of everyone who's ever played F1 2021.
Against the most likable guy.
Against the most energetic and most likable guy on the grid. You know, someone who always is just a barrel of laughs. He's always energetic and happy and friendly and kind. And it's such a wonderful combination.
Sort of reminds me of those sort of theatres, you know, with one smiley face and one unhappy face sticking at the top. Kind of like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe it's a bit like Star Wars. You know, you have the Jedi and you have the Sith Lords as well. So they've got one of each in the Alpine team. Is that what we're saying?
I can't speak to that. I've never watched Star Wars.
What? Oh my God!
This is where we just lost half the viewers. I apologise, Dirk. I'm sorry. George,
oh my
I'm sorry.
God! All right, news just in, folks. Badgerman has never watched Star Wars. We're gonna have to correct that someday, Seb. We're gonna have to do
I'm
that.
not interested, to be fair.
Oh my God! Oh, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that, just for the sake of our relationship. But yeah, we're ready to get stuck into Monza now. The timer ticking down. Qualifying 1 coming up very shortly. What do these drivers have to do to get through to Q2 here, Badgerman?
It's really just about getting one good lap in. Don't invalidate. That's, I think, key number 1, because, as you said, there's the Ascari chicane where it's incredibly easy to invalidate. There is the Parabolica, or I think Alboreto, as it's now known.
Curva Alboreto, yep.
There we go. Wasn't 100% sure, but thank you. For me, it will always be Parabolica, and I think I speak for most F1 fans when I say this.
Yes.
It will always be Parabolica. So, on the exit of Parabolica, it's very easy to invalidate. Just run a little bit too wide. And you want to run wide because it means you carry more speed. So, it is beneficial to go as far as you can, but obviously it's not beneficial to go beyond the limits because then you invalidate. Ascari, as mentioned, it's very easy to just overdo it a little bit in the second chicane. Just cut the corners a little bit too much, or one of the corners a little bit too much. That's an invalidation. And so that's rule number 1 really of qualifying, especially Q1. Don't invalidate. Rule number 2, really, just get a decent lap in and don't crash. We've seen that in the last couple of races as well in Q1. There have been moments in qualifying where drivers exited. Just bring to mind Mexico with, I think it was Mr. Dale and Just Van Ali, if I'm not mistaken, who took each other out in the stadium section before even setting one lap. Don't do that. Get a time on the board and make sure it's at least a decent one. You don't have to show your hand in Q1 just yet.
No, not at all. Well, I'm pleased to say, folks, that we will be going live now very shortly across to the actual race, of course, that we're going to be bringing to you here at Monza. And it should be a good one as well. Looking forward to it. And naturally, plenty of cars now venturing out onto the track. Standard procedure, obviously, at this moment in time. Intermediates are on the cars. But in terms now of this Monza weekend, a vastly different track, I think, in some ways. Probably the closest track to it, and I say this lightly, is Jeddah, would you say?
Jeddah certainly up there for sure. That was a mental race, and I would say that's probably I'd say that was so far the craziest race that we've had so far. I don't think Monza can beat that. The walls are a little bit too far away. Not that that's a bad thing in general. I think, you know, at a track that is as quick as this, you want the walls a little bit further away. But, yeah, I don't think we'll get as crazy today. But will get crazy in different ways, maybe. You know, in Jeddah, it's very difficult to follow other cars because you've got the first sector with all these high-speed corners where the dirty air just pushes you away from the car in front. You don't have that here. It's just so quick, and the only corners you really have, mostly, are actually slow corners. If you think about the first chicane, the second chicane, then it gets a little bit quicker, but it's easy to follow other cars, and it's hard to fall out of the 1 second DRS, and DRS is quite powerful here due to the nature, really, of the track and the long straights that we have here. So, you know, we're going to have it differently. We're going to have almost pack racing for all the NASCAR fans out there. I think it's gonna resemble that more than what we saw in Jeddah.
Yeah, no, I think so. And obviously stepping into this, obviously I've seen a lot of drivers working hard, trying to maximize their laps. Quite a few have also been, trying to work their way through Sebring as well. Obviously that's ongoing at the moment. Vastly different cars in that instance though, but a real test nonetheless for all the drivers. Of course now heading into Monza, obviously getting through to Q3 is vital. I know we speak a lot about Dirk Chocolate and his form. I happened to watch him and tune in between him and Infratic yesterday. I will be honest, Infratic, I have to be honest, had the better of it in more ways than one. I mean, Dirk really needs to almost sort of reset at this point, do you think?
Yeah, I really do think so. I mean, I was trying through chat to engineer Dirk in some of his co-op races, and his mistakes got to the point where I literally typed in his chat, "I resign." Yeah, Dirk needs. I think reset is probably a very good way to phrase it. It's a mental reset that he needs. Sort of, okay, what I'm doing is not working. Let's try something completely different. Instead of, trying to stick with the old habits and his willingness or his stubbornness to wanting to race in cockpit cam, I think he needs to ditch that. I think he needs to go back to TV pod, because one thing that we've seen so far throughout this season is that it impedes his, and it's just natural, but it impedes his awareness of other cars around him. It's hard to see the mirrors when you're racing in cockpit cam. You don't have the digital mirror on top, or at least he doesn't. And so it just makes things very difficult for him on track. It's hard to judge things sometimes in that camera setting. So maybe it's time for a change.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Conditions here at Monza is certainly not wet, but of course the race can be vastly different. We are considering certainly a clear forecast, and temperatures look very sensible. 24 degrees in the air temp, as we now see Curbs take a very interesting line off track as well. Plenty of cars crossing the line. Bushy Ants goes fourth fastest on the intermediate tyres. Obviously, this is what happens. The Intermediate Tyre Championship well and truly underway. Mr. Dale currently sits in top spot with Alex Budd just in behind him in P2 for AlphaTauri. Infratic storms into sixth fastest. Of course, if we're looking at the Intermediate Tyre Championship right now, Bushy Ants topping that, but now immense time there, certainly from Devon Butler, who now storms into third place, but he's on the soft tyres, not partaking in the nonsense that is the Intermediate Tyre Championship, Badgerman.
It's not nonsense, George. Stop that. It's wonderful. I love seeing it every time it happens. So, legit, I really like it. Because, one, for the drivers, it makes sense to just use a set of intermediates if they're not using it in the race anyway, because I think they get 3 or 4 sets in total. So using one, even if there is a rain race, it doesn't hurt you. Unless it's a full intermediate race, then it might get tricky. But if it's just, a little bit of rain here or there, using an intermediate in Q1 doesn't hurt you at all. And Monza is even a track where it makes the most sense because, again, it's only 11 corners. Most of them are either really low speed, where the tire grip doesn't matter as much, or, well, flat out, really, in some ways. Curva Grande, for example, where, again, tire grip doesn't matter. The only places where it really does matter is Lesmo 1, Lesmo 2, Ascari, and Parabolica. And so, as we see, the gap between Bushy Ants and Mr. Dale is just over 2 seconds. That's not that much on a 80-second 1 minute 20 lap. So it's a lot less than what we saw in Jeddah, where I think the gaps were 4, 5, 6 seconds. So it's worth it here to really do that. So I'm actually surprised to see as many cars as we have to not use the soft tires, which is 5 already with a lap time. The top 4 and Punju as well. Safso has soft tires currently set on his car, but has set his first lap time on an intermediate. And then Razin Chai is also out on the track with softs, as well as Just Hun is, I think, exiting the pits. Yes, she is. There we go. So it's a lot more cars than I would have expected. I thought this was going to be the race where 20 drivers were going to start on intermediates on their first run in Q1, but clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, I can tell you this, Rasin Chai has gone fastest of all in the first sector, so looking extremely quick as well, has nailed a 26.2 in the first sector, taking that away from Mr. Dale, who has been leading the top end, certainly the sharp end, for quite some time. Rasin Chai now heading down the Sergilio straight, which will then lead him towards the Ascari chicane. I, of course, witnessed myself when commentating Euro Formula, Christian Mansell get turned upside down when he collided with Francesco Simonazzi through the initial point of Ascari, but managed to get out of the cockpit all okay. Rasin Chai, once again, green in the middle sector. Very impressive time so far. Will certainly be enough to go through to Q2, I am sure, given the fact that many of the cars that we've seen so far have only set laps out on intermediates. Meraki also out on an out lap. He's out on intermediates still, as now Rasin Chai comes up towards the line. Where's he going to be? Second fastest. Not enough to usurp Mr. Dale. And I think we've got to talk a little bit about Mr. Dale. A very wholesome moment this week, of course, Badgerman, because, of course, I'm not sure whether many of you have seen Mr. Dale's socials lately, but, of course, he had a message from Christian Horner himself, or more importantly, or should I say, Arya received a special message from Christian Horner after she displayed her wonderful skills behind the wheel on the F1 game when beating everyone in an online race at Monaco, of all circuits. It was sensational to see, and I have to tell you, really wholesome moment, and certainly incredible work from the Red Bull team. Credit to Christian Horner. I thought it was a touching tribute, a lovely comment, wonderful clip. And I said this to Mr. Dale because he got it while I was in when I was in the Discord chat with him. We were there talking, and he was so overwhelmed with it. And I tell you what, credit to him, credit to his daughter, very well deserved. And he could yet get pole position tonight if he carries on like this.
He very well could, yeah. It's a very good lap, and you are absolutely right. It was an incredibly wholesome moment, and I think what I was more amazed by is that the skill that Arya has already at age 3. I mean, I don't even remember what I did when I was 3. I certainly wasn't driving race cars around the circuit, certainly not around Monaco, but not around any circuits. And she was just absolutely wiping the floor with that lobby. It was really impressive to see. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in, say, 2040, 2045 maybe, we hear Formula One World Champion Arya. Wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
It's a possibility. I can tell you this, though. Safso in the immediate currently goes second fastest, just in behind Mr. Dale. And we've just got Carbon Shadow going 7th fastest, 1.5 seconds near enough off the time of Mr. Dale. Up at the top end, of course, quite a spacious gap in between all the cars currently out on the grid. Only 2 cars have yet to set lap times, one of them being Dirk Chocolate. And if he's not, well, I'll tell you what, if he's not quick enough, he could yet be out of Q1 in a very early fragile stage. Obviously here, 6 minutes and 12 to go, yet to set a lap time. What's the chances he's only going to have one chance here, Badgerman?
Seems pretty high because he hasn't exited the pit lane so far. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's trying to fix some technical difficulties once again, but he hasn't exited the pits in 12 minutes so far. It looks very, very surprising to me, very confusing as well that he hasn't even attempted a lap at this stage. Meanwhile, Just Hun is struggling with other issues. It seems like, for one, she has some internet problems. But also, she does seem to struggle with the track limits. So she's been out there for a couple of laps and has been invalidating laps so far. That's why she is not on the timing board just yet.
Yeah, give it time though. GB68 goes 5th fastest as well, looking really sharp up there with a 120.612 and goes just within half a second as well. So Hun coming into the pit lane, and she's going to need to strap on another set of boots and get set for one last chance. She might have used both sets of tyres, not quite sure yet. Obviously, I can obviously see she's got a set of softs on the car now, but we're into the final 5 minutes, and I tell you what, nothing quite like the present as Hayden Gullis goes 3rd fastest after setting purple in Sector 1 and 2. Just a little messy in Sector 3.
I think your telemetry is wrong there.
Oh, is it? Hayden Gullis was not purple in the 1st and 2nd sector.
He was not. Yeah, he was not purple in any sector. In fact, his final sector was the closest to purple that he was.
Yeah, the wonders of SimHub, folks.
Yeah, there we go. Wonderful. It was entirely the wrong way around. Thank you, SimHub. But no, in the final sector, he was only 200ths of a second behind the purple sector that was set by Mr. Dale. So really, really close there. And in the 1st and 2nd sectors, he lost a little bit, but yeah. Well, he actually was a bit quicker than Dale in the 1st, but Dale doesn't have the purple there. Razin Chai in P4 currently holds that.
Yeah.
And then middle sector, they're all very equal in the middle sector. We're looking at plenty of 26.8s. In fact, joint purple right now between Safzo, who's in the pits right now, and Tom in P15, who's gone 26.831 in the middle sector, just like Safzo, who has retired now, as has Mr. Dale. And here comes Tom up to P1, and that should be qualification to Q2 more than just secured.
Well, I think it goes without saying, Mr. Dales and Safzo both retiring. Tom certainly holding the fort and holding his own up at the sharp end, and no doubt he is going to be so pleased with that. A great way to get things going here at Monza. Q1 getting off with a bang for Tom and the Alpine team. He's without a doubt going to be very pleased with that, and I'll tell you what, just look at the smile on his face. So composed. Really promising signs for Alpine, not to mention with a brand new driver at the helm as well. Obviously, don't forget, we have got Devon Butler here with us for this race tonight. Has signed up and committed to the Creator Series, and he's currently sat in 9th fastest. So a great opportunity here as Al Taco Man goes 8th fastest for the Scuderia. That pushes Devon Butler down to P10. But as it stands, both Alpines going through. So it's looking like the system's working here, Badgerman.
Yeah, for now, but again, I think the differences between the two drivers might mean that this is a temporary alliance that we see here between the two, and that once we get to the race, it might go out the window.
Could well do. Yellow flag in Sector 1 already. Hayden Gullis has retired as well, so obviously content with his lap as well. 2 minutes and 15 to go. And, of course, it'll essentially mean that there's only one chance. I can tell you one driver that's out on an out lap right now. It's Dirk Chocolate. And there's 2 Red Bulls currently sat in the elimination zone, including as well, we've got Bushy Ants currently sat just below the, should we say, the cut-off point. Obviously 16th fastest for Bushy Ants. Quite a surprise, certainly considering that he has been challenging for the race wins here in recent races, certainly for Mercedes. It'd be a major shock to lose him at this very sensitive point here in qualifying. We've got Just Hun out on track as well. She's making her way down through towards the next straight. Needs to make sure she can enlist a lap time before the timer runs out, as Dirk Chocolate now commences his final, certainly without question, his final flying lap here in Q1.
Yeah, a bunch of drivers are going for it. Bushy Ants actually invalidated his first run here. He's got another one. I don't know how much fuel he has in the car. It is blinking red, so I think this might be his last opportunity if he messes this up, because right now he's only falling back on his interlap that he set at the start of qualifying. So it's going to be interesting here. He has to make sure that this is at least a decent lap and not invalid. So far, that's looking good. 26.3 in the first sector. That could still be on pace for provisional pole position. That certainly could be on pace to make sure that he is getting into Q2. Middle sector also very close to Tom's time. If the final sector is good, then I think we've got Bushy Ants going through. He just cannot mess up Parabolica here. Don't invalidate. He stays very narrow to make sure and to shorten the run to the line. He's also running a bit out of ERS, but it should be enough. And it's enough for P10. He took it very safely there. I think he was running out of ERS a lot earlier than that, and that cost him in that final sector only a 27.5. That's 0.8 away from purple sector 3.
Yeah.
That is a lot in what is really just 2 corners. It's Ascari, the section of Ascari, and Parabolica. So, wow.
Well, Carbon Shadow's just gone 14th fastest. Bushian's pulling across as well. Devin Butler now in the elimination zone. Dirk Chocolate eliminating his previous run is going for it again here, and he's just over.
Butler's in the pits. Butler's out.
Butler's out, so he's gone. That's a no-show for Devin Butler in Q2, so that's confirmation. I tell you, another driver who is on the cusp of elimination is Meraki, and he needs to set in a really pacey lap if he wants to stay in qualifying. He's currently sat in 17th place, a race winner here in the Creator Series as well. What a shock it would be, but remember the clutch lap he performed in Q2 back in Saudi Arabia. He can pull these kinds of laps off. Here comes Meraki, second fastest. He goes through to the next session as well. But what about Dirk Chocolate, who currently sits at the back? Is he staying in or is he jumping out? We'll have to wait and see, as he now tackles the Parabolica himself. The Red Bull that of course has struggled, obviously hasn't even entered the circuit until late in this session, needs to dig up some gold here as he heads up towards the line. Is it safety for Dirk Chocolate? It's not! He's gone! No! In a Red Bull are down to 1 car now, heading into Q2. Infratic just on the bubble in P15.
Yeah, and he's through because Carbon Shadow has invalidated his lap, so he will not improve here on his final run. So that is the session over, and our drivers eliminated are Carbon Shadow, Dirk Chocolate, Punju on his debut, Devin Butler on his debut starting in P19, and Just Hun starting last.
Yeah, crazy laps indeed. Incredible, really. Tom, though, going fastest in the first session of qualifying. Very impressive from him. That's a side of Tom that we haven't seen, I would say, since the Creator Series has been in full flow, Badgerman. Are you impressed with this upturn in pace? Because, I don't think we've ever seen anything like it from Tom lately. What I will add as well, there's been a rule change here in the Creator Series as well, folks. Parc Fermé adjustments now. You're not allowed to adjust your setup. Once you've set it up prior to your hot lap in qualifying, or prior to going out at all in qualifying, that's it. You cannot change it. So I do wonder whether it's favouring some drivers over others. Tom, though, is the fastest driver in Q1. Look at that. And only just over 14 thousandths clear of Meraki, which goes to show how important that last lap was for Meraki. Mr. Dale J.E. as well, third fastest. Very, very good lap from him too in the Aston Martin. Zafso in fourth, Hayden Gullis in fifth, Tim Marduk sixth, Rasun Chai seventh, Liam eighth, GB68 ninth, Matty D13, TTV in 10th. We'll just take a look at the eliminations now, folks. Carbon Shadow out, as well as Dirk Chocolate. Punju out, as well as Devin Butler, who's now showing up as Bevan Dutler at this point. Incredible. Just Hun finishing last of the running cars on a return as well for Haas. But nevertheless, what a start to qualifying. Great to be back as well, folks. Hope you guys are all enjoying this at Monza as well, just as much as we are. It certainly has been a feast to see. But going back to what I was saying, Badgerman, do you think the rule change of not being able to adjust your setup, Parc Fermé rules now in place here at the Creator Series, might make a difference?
I think they do. It's very easily exploitable. You can run a full-on qualifying setup that usually has a bit higher wings because you want the optimal setup for one lap pace, whereas a race setup usually tends to feature slightly lower wings. Not here for Monza, quite frankly. Obviously, you would run quite low wings anyway, but generally speaking, because you want lower wings because you want to make it easier for yourself to overtake in a straight line.
Yeah. Where
you get DRS, where you get slipstream, and where you can really, prepare an overtake. So in that case, it certainly helps make qualifying a bit more interesting. It makes things difficult for some drivers, I think, more than others. And I do think it helps Tom a little bit because he's got experience with that. He's got experience, doing qualifying in what effectively is a race setup. whereas maybe some of the other drivers might not. But overall, I think it's more down to the track for Tom that he's showing up here tonight, that he's doing well. Monza is a circuit that I think for a lot of drivers is quite easy to learn. And it's a circuit where tiny mistakes aren't really punished as heavily as another plate. Well, it depends on where you make them, really, to be fair. If you make a tiny mistake on the exit of a corner, then yes. But if you just go a little bit too deep on entry, that's not punished as much, because you can then still, around some of these corners, set up the exit properly to get yourself good straight line speed and make sure that you gain that time back down some of these long straights. So I think that's where Tom's experience really comes in handy. And of course, he's done laps around this circuit. Oh, I just saw a crash.
Goodness me, that's the McLaren. Zafso's out.
Zafso on the back straight. He was trying to warm up his tires. I was on board with him when it happened. He just dipped 2 tires on the grass, immediately spun to the right into the outside wall, and the right side wheel came off. It's a rookie mistake from the champion.
Well, I tell you what, that's repercussions, and certainly 1 place already confirmed in this session should times be put on the board. I tell you what, who'd have thought we'd see something like that here in this session? Bushy-Ants, though, already going fastest of all in the first sector. Well, he was fastest of all in the first sector. That lap has, well, certainly that sector's just been taken away from him. But what a moment. Our current Creator Series champion losing the car on his outlap here at Monza, or just getting stuck, certainly out in the grass. We're just watching Bushy-Ants head down the Serigilio straight. You can see the yellow flags being waved here. Bushy-Ants once again finding purple in that middle sector, but again taken away, and another car has gone off, I think, on the left-hand side of Ascari. So they're all flying off at this point.
That's Kebs. Oh my.
So that's 2 cars out.
Struggling. Yeah, he's been struggling with traction for a while. We saw him get eliminated in Jeddah on lap 1, causing a safety car. And it seems like that trend continues now, with Kebs really struggling for grip, for traction. Very, very unfortunate to see, but yeah, in some ways I'm not surprised, because no offense to I'm not going to be savage here, but Kebs is playing on controller, and I can tell you from very good personal experience, Ascari on controller can be summarized in 1 word and 1 word only, and that word is pain. It's not fun to drive through Ascari on controller. It's so easy to lose the car, and you can't make the corrections that you can normally make when you're driving with the wheel. These like tiny corrections to stabilize the car. You don't have that on controller, so I don't want to blame Curbs that much for that incident, for that crash. It's unlucky, but yeah, it's a bit of a shame that it happened, but I think that's down to the control device that he's using being the controller.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Racing Chai, though, heading through the Curva Alboreto, now making his way down towards the line as well. Where's he going to go? 7th fastest, not enough to disturb the top end, and no doubt he'll be looking to come back later on. Obviously setting a lap nonetheless, and he can work off that delta and figure out where he can gain more time. I tell you, another man who's out and about as well is Meraki. Plenty of other cars also out on track too. Very, very busy circuit here at Monza at this time. Meraki just getting himself prepped for a fast run, and of course they've all got to try and catch the top time set by Bushy-Ants, a 120.280, and the AlphaTauri in behind as well in 2nd place. The GB68 in 3rd as well. I tell you what, it's an intriguing couple of sessions of qualifying already. Not a lot really corresponds in terms of pace, because you know, we're seeing different drivers up at the sharp end. I appreciate, obviously, we've still got 9.5 minutes to go, but it'll be interesting to see whether Tom could land a big heavy blow up at the top end, Badgerman, to sort of show that this pace is consistent with what we saw in Q1.
Yeah, it's we're gonna have to wait until we see that. I don't see Tom's telemetry. He doesn't have it on, but I would assume, just like most of these other drivers, that he's out. Oh, he's off the circuit. I don't know what happened there, but I think if you're watching Tom's stream right now, you're going to hear a bit of what the flip, as he always loves to say. He needs merch with that. I would buy it, quite frankly. But no, I don't know what happened there to him. Well, he just got on the grass on the exit of the first chicane, not into the gravel. Just after that, basically in that little right-hand kink before Parabolica, you come out of the Retifilo, right, and you have this little right-hand kink before you get into the long right-hand corner, and there he just turned too much. I don't really know what exactly happened there, but it seems like he doesn't have any damage, so he can just go back to the pits, put a new set of tires on, prepare for his second run. I don't think he'll be able to get in another one. It's gonna... Oh, he might, to be fair. If he pits now, he could very well get in another run.
It's very possible. Infratic is out on a lap as well and is certainly putting his time together in the first sector. Obviously, yet to put one on the board just yet with 7 minutes and 50 to go. Heads out of Lesmo 2 and down the Serigilio Straight as well. Meraki incidentally going fastest in that run we just pictured on camera. 120.063 goes plus 2/10 faster than Bushians, who's already retired from the session. Obviously, Bushians very happy with his lap and knows that there's already 2 places in the elimination spot that have been covered by the likes of Zafso and Curbs. As now Infratic makes his way down towards the Kerber Alboreto, also known as the Parabolica, heads through this next right at turn 11 now and will sweep down through towards the long straight and register his first time on the board. Going to continue his good run so far, 8th fastest, so we'll need to try and stay in the top 10, of course, to go through to Q3, but that's not a bad place to start. I would imagine, though, he'll want to come back in and just get some new tyres on that car.
Yeah, right now it's really the question, do you go out now or do you just wait for the remaining sort of 4-5 minutes until you go out for your final run? And I think for most of these drivers, they're going to stay in. We've got GB coming out of the pits just about 25 seconds ago, 30 seconds ago. But for the most... Oh, Tom actually does go out for another lap. I wonder if maybe someone in chat was having our stream on and told him, no, you have time. That I said that he has enough time. I do think he does. It's going to be somewhat close, but he does have enough time for another run. Question is just, does he have new tires on, new softs, or does he have the old softs on again? It's very tricky right now in terms of timing. He might want to cut the chicane. He doesn't do it. I don't know if the drivers are allowed to do that. I know there are leagues in which drivers are allowed to just cut chicanes out to get a faster out lap or faster in lap. But I don't know if that's allowed here. I would assume it is. I don't think... because we don't have stewards, we don't really have anyone who can, who can make decisions on that. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what he can do with this upcoming lap. Let's see who else is on the circuit right now. GB just started a lap at the first sector, 26.4. It's not that great, not even green. He's going red in the first. We've got Alex Budd across the line, P10, and Tom starting a lap now. And then Razinchai, I think, is starting a lap as well, or has invalidated this for sure. Yeah, he's starting a lap. He's on 95% ERS, so definitely just engaged hot lap mode, and here he goes. GB middle sector purple. Oh, hello.
Yeah, I tell you what.
There's an improvement.
He's on a move. I tell you who else was on the move before he came into the pit lane, and that was Mr. Dale. He actually went purple in the middle sector on his previous lap, but I think must have had an issue heading out of Ascari because he ended up coming straight into the pit lane. And unfortunately didn't quite work out for him. GB68 now heading as well down towards the line. Of course, purple in the second sector. Where's he going to go? First fastest, 119.909. The first man in the 119s here in Q2. A sensational lap, and I'm sure he'll take it and stick it in the bank. I think that is safe to say he's going through to Q3.
Yeah, with the 119, I think that is a safe lap right there. First 119 of the day. Great stuff there. Meanwhile, Tom has invalidated Razinchai 26.2 in the first sector. Now he's done a 26.8 in the middle sector. This is looking promising as well. Maybe not for P1, but I would say certainly for a top 4 spot. if the final sector is good, might even be third or second. Second's going to be tricky, but third or fourth I think is possible for Razinchai here. He just needs to make it through Parabolica, not spin, get across the line, and what's it going to be? Oh, it is P2. Another 119.9. There we go. Fantastic lap from Razinchai as well. And we've got more cars out on track. We've got Matty D currently in P5, just starting another lap right now. And then we've got Mr. Dale in P13, also on his outlap, about to start his flyer as well. So 2 cars out right there, more cars exiting the pit lane. Liam coming out on track, Infratic on his way out. This is where the storm begins. I always call this kind of phase the calm before the storm. Now, prepare to be blown away.
Yeah, absolutely right. Mr. Dale, who is going to be making his way around on his next lap now. Matty D13 improving currently in the first sector, as you would expect, and looking to try and make a charge. Currently sits in P5 as well. You could argue that he's technically safe already, but it's always good to find those vital little thousands, those little hundredths, those tenths as well, if you can find them. He has found them in that first sector. Can he find them in the second? He's lost time in Sector 2, so not ideal, but he has still got Sector 3 ahead of him. Needs a good run out of the Ascari chicane as he now hurtles down the long straight, which will lead him up towards turn 11. Of course, that being the Curva Parabolica or Curva Alboreto. As we said before, in the background as well, we've got the Haas of Liam also making its way down now. Matty D13 looking to come up and join the fun up at the sharp end. Can he increase his prospects of a Q3 display? 120.379, no better in terms of placement, but he's still in the mix. Mr. Dale, who will no doubt be looking to try and lift himself out of the elimination zone. 2 minutes to go. Race control have confirmed now, and Dale has actually gone purple in that middle sector. He's faster in the first sector as well. The Aston Martin hurtling through turn 11 now. Is this enough to usurp that of his teammate? GB68, Aston Martin looking very strong. He goes fastest. Brilliant lap from Mr. Dale once again to the top. He was there briefly in Q1. He's just stolen it again in Q2.
Incredible lap right there, and Aston Martin 1-2, and he's not actually quite safe yet, although Hayden Gull is leaving the pits quite late here, I gotta admit. With 1 minute and 20 now left, if you're still in the pits like Meraki is, then you're not going to make it. So I would actually argue at this point, yeah, Mr. Dale is safe, as we have 6 cars that will not be able to set another lap time. That would be GB, Razinchai, Meraki, Bushian, Satsu, and Kurt. So both Aston Martin safe in Q3, guaranteed. The others will have to worry a bit, but then again, I don't think that Razinchai is all too worried. I think the same is true for Meraki. More drivers to come. We've got Liam 2 green sectors. That second sector looks very good. The first wasn't great, but it's still enough for P5, pushing down Bushy Ants. It's getting a bit antsy for Bushy Ants. I'm sorry for that.
Goodness me. I don't think we were at all prepared for that. It's Saturday. It's Saturday, Badgerman. Incredible.
Yeah,
no, that's all good.
Oh, Infratic. Hold on. Infratic went purple in the first sector. Oh, it's just got taken away by Meraki, but he's really close, 26.1. We haven't seen that, and it's a 20.1 for Infratic. He pushes down Bushy.
I tell you what, not a bad lap for Infratic. Tom is on a very important lap right now. Still yet to nail a time. He's the only car still in the session yet to enlist a lap time. As you'd expect, green in the first sector. You can just see he's got his concentration face on as he enters Lesmo 1 and very shortly Lesmo 2. Now remember, Tom was fastest in Q1. A huge snap with the steering there. You just see the shock enter him there slightly as they head down towards the Serigilio straight, which will then lead him into the Ascari chicane. He breaks in just before the 50, hurtles through. Yellow flags currently raised in Sector 3, and Tom now going full send, still trying to enlist a big lap time to essentially allow him to partake in our next qualifying session, that being Q3. Now hurtles through the Curva Alboreto. Big chance now. He'll put the throttle down on the Alpine as he makes his way down towards the start-finish line. Is it enough for safety? He goes fastest! A super lap from from Tom. A 119.740. That is sensational, Badgerman.
That is that we've got more drivers coming. El Taco Man now officially out. Matty D on the bubble. Tiamat Marduk across the line with a 119.9, and he is safe. Pushes Matty down, and now it's all coming down to Hayden Gullis versus Alex Budd. Alex Budd is still on a lap, but it's a slow lap, and it's not going to matter. Hayden Gullis is through, and Alex Budd is out. So we lose both AlphaTauris. Alex Budd P11, Matty D13 P12, El Tacoman P13. He invalidated his final run. It would have been good enough, I think, after the first sector. Looking at his sector split, I think he had a chance there, but it wasn't quite meant to be. And Saf Zone Curves, obviously, after their crashes. And Bushians got through by the skin of his teeth.
Well, Hayden Gullis, you can just see there, breathe a sigh of relief to get into Q3. And he'll be delighted with that, I am sure. Big moment, certainly for him. Obviously getting the big results where they count. A smile from Hayden Gullis. The giraffe is making a Q3 appearance. We're looking forward to seeing how he gets on. Obviously plenty of surprising moments, big moments as well. I have to tell you, credit to Tom. He's done it again, Badger. He's done it again. Sensational effort.
He has, and I think at this point, after 2 qualifying sessions, topping both of them, I think Tom is the favourite here for Q3 as well. We might very well see a Dutchman on pole position, an all too familiar sight really from real F1, but we haven't seen that much here in the Creator Series so far. I would have to check if Jorrit van Heffen has ever been on the pole position, but it's not common for us to happen here that we have a Dutchman that yeah, Britannia's actually did have 1 pole position in season 1. I can't quite see how many he's had in season 2, unfortunately. Might have to go through the results, and that's going to take me a while, so let's not do that. But yeah, Tom, fantastic stuff. 19.7, and already, because that is how F1 22 is these days, there are the accusations in the chat that he's cheating. I can tell you right now, if he's cheating with engine power, he's doing a bad job, because in the top speed ranking, he was smack bang in the middle. So everyone was pretty equal in terms of straight line speed. There wasn't much going on, and so I don't think the only way you would cheat here is with straight line speed and more engine power, and no, it's not happening. Plus, it's Tom. He doesn't do that.
No, not at all.
None of them do that.
No, of course not. Of course not. Yeah, you can just say the name Jamie Mells is banned here at the Creator Series.
Exactly.
But yes, it's incredible though. But brilliant stories again, Badgerman. We talk about Creator Series, synonymous with great stories. We hear the likes, of course, names such as, you know, Tiamat Marduk. Who can forget that Silverstone performance? Because while obviously Jamie Mells was cheating in that race, it still was a sensational Tiamat Marduk performance to grab the initiative, take the win and the final bend at Silverstone. Despite everything else that may have existed around that time, it still was a brilliant moment. We've seen many brilliant moments here in the series as well. I mean, I'm getting some really serious vibes here from Tom. I mean, could you imagine the scenes if he wins this Italian Grand Prix?
I can imagine the scenes, and I want to see it, quite frankly.
I think we all do. I think we all want to see it. I'd like to see it happen, to be fair.
Absolutely. It would absolutely, as you say, it would be vibes. It would be incredible. But then again, so would be, honestly, I think Tom would celebrate, you know, front row stop. P2, I think he'd be super happy with as well. I think P3 he'd be quite happy with as well. P4 even. So, you know, I think generally, to be fair, Tom is just generally a happy guy. But yeah, he'd be celebrating, I think, just any really good qualification, because the last couple of races so far this season, really in all races, it's not gone quite as well as you would think from a driver who has qualified for the F1 Esports Pro Draft at one point. So you gotta remember, Tom is an incredibly capable driver and always has been. So he's just showing that he hasn't lost it, really. And I love to see it. I'm all here for it.
Yeah, I think we all are. Timo Marduk making his way around on his opening Q3 lap, and as you can see, heading down through towards the Rogier chicane. Oh, dearie me, really going full head-on with the sausage curves, heading through that chicane. That won't help. And certainly if you've got simulation damage on, that is underfloor damage right there, folks. And that certainly won't help. No doubt he's going to come back in and essentially, I mean, he could be down to just one lap if he carries on. But 9 minutes to go. Not the best of starts. Naturally, you don't want those creeping in at this point here, Badgerman.
You certainly don't. You want to make sure that everything goes smoothly, that, you know, on your outlap, you take care of your tire temps. You really just go through the motions in a way. On the outlap, you look at your tire temps, make sure you warm up the tires properly enough, as GB sets the first time here. And what a time he sets, 19.8 as a banker early in Q3. That is what I would call a statement. Timo Marduk coming in. We've got more cars. Hayden Gullers. We've got 3 cars sort of back to back to back here. Hayden Gullers, Razinchai, and Liam all about to come across the line. Liam to start a lap. The other 2 to finish one. Hayden Gullers 20.4. Razinchai 20.8. That's more where I would expect a banker to be. Bushy across the line 20.7. It seems like Bushy doesn't like this circuit. He's struggling a bit. I'm surprised by that. Meraki going double purple, coming through Parabolica. And that is likely to be a stonking lap. 19.4.
Super lap.
Wow.
That is a super lap. A 119.
That is incredible.
4.47. Nearly 4 tenths faster than GB68. Incredible. Now remember where the fastest lap was back in Q2, folks. Obviously the temperature and the conditions, the track evolution would have stepped up a notch, certainly heading into this session, but Meraki taking full advantage of it. And I tell you what, that's not a bad place to start. Certainly if you're confident, if you're a confident person, that will give you even more confidence when you head out for your second run later on in the session. At this point, he doesn't have a huge amount to worry about now, Badgerman, I would say.
Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, at this point, he's going to be quite comfortable. Just looking at, you know, how does the session evolve? How do the times evolve? And really just, he can now afford to be the last car out in Q3 with like 1 minute and 30, 1 minute and 35 left. He can leave the pit lane. Obviously not. That's not when he presses the button. That's when he exits the pit lane itself and gets onto the circuit. So, you know, we'll be pressing the button, what, around 1 minute and 55, 2 minutes maybe, to exit. But everyone else is going to be a lot earlier than that because they need to make sure that they get, you know, a good little pocket that they can do their lap in where they don't get traffic. And he can just risk it because that banker lap, that's an easy one to fall back onto.
It is. Tom, we're just watching, make his way out the second Lesmo. Heading down the Serigilio straight. Timo Marduk, I can confirm, on an outlap as well. And might have timed it well enough so that he might be able to get another run in after this one. Will have to be quick. Tom now, currently, just under 4 tenths slower than Meraki.
Invalid.
Heading out of the middle sector. And he's invalidated the lap, heading out of the Ascari chicane as well. So that essentially leaves him with only one chance. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in and boxes. We know he can pull off a clutch lap. He has done it. He did it previously. He'll have to do it again. Does he come into the pits? No. He's going to continue, maybe just to set a lap in the first place. Purple, sector 3, but does not enlist the lap time. On a pace standpoint, doesn't look too far out the way.
Yeah, it would have been P2, would have been ahead of GB, barely, 19.809. So good, 26 milliseconds ahead of GB. So tiny margins there, and quite far away from Meraki as Timo Marduk, just watching him really tricky through the De La Roja chicane there. That was not the way to go, I think. That is not going to be that great of a lap, possibly. First sector wasn't great already, 26.4. That is on pace with Bushy right now. Middle sector coming up, 53.2 in total. Okay, that's closer to Hayden Gullers now, with 26.9 in the middle sector, exactly. So he has a chance here to potentially get up to P3 with this lap. Didn't invalidate in Ascari, will likely not invalidate in Parabolica. And then P3 potentially on the cards here for Tiamat Marduk, at least for now, for the bankers, and it is a solid P3 there. 3/10 clear of Gullis and 3/10 behind GB68. Yeah, 4.5 minutes. This is where the drivers prepare mentally now for the last run.
Yeah, and definitely that will help. Obviously, try and setting that initial lap in place obviously can be vital for some drivers, because then they have a measure to certainly go against when they head out for yet another lap. And Tiamat Marduk, no doubt, will feel that positivity. Obviously, GB68 setting his lap earlier than anyone else. Meraki with that real barnstormer to get things underway. Obviously, that 119.447 is such a super lap to get your Q3 session underway. 3 minutes and 45 to go, and no doubt we'll be seeing more and more cars make their way out. Rasin Chai being one of them. Tiamat Marduk will be coming in on this lap. Rasin Chai, though, getting set for a fast run, and he'll be the first driver to do so as we head to the tail end of the Q3 session.
Yeah, Liam coming out of the pits right now in the Haas there, and I think most of the other drivers should follow within the next 1.5, 2 minutes at most to get back out on track. As Razin starting another lap here? Yeah, he is. The ERS always gives a very good indication of whether they're starting a lap or going for an in-lap, and he started with plenty of energy in the battery, so Razin very much out of sync with everyone else, which is not necessarily a good thing in qualifying. You want to be in sync with all the other drivers, and you know, make sure that you have your little bubble, your little space, where you've got a good, at least I would say a good 200 meters in front, a good 200 meters behind, and you have no traffic whatsoever, and then you do your lap. So Razin very much out of sync with the rest of qualifying. Leaves him a bit vulnerable because he doesn't have maximum track evolution available to him, maximum grip available, but a good lap can make up for that. Remember the difference in or the skill gap, as we mentioned earlier, between these drivers is a little bit bigger than F1 Esports. Well, significantly bigger than F1 Esports. And so that track evolution doesn't come into play as much. As Razin Chai now heading to the line, it's a very good lap. Could be P2, potentially. It's not quite that. Misses out by 10th. And that was 2/10 lost to GB in the final sector. So up to that point, he was very well on for P2, but I think Ascari was not quite going he was not quite extracting the maximum out of Ascari.
No, well, Liam has just started his flying lap, his last one of the session, and he managed to beat all the cars coming out of the pit lane, so very, very well timed from him. Obviously, plenty of cars now out on track. We're going to be getting down towards the very nip and tuck section of qualifying. Q3 well and truly underway, and we're very nearly coming to the end of it as well. Liam heading through Lesmo 1, Lesmo 2 coming up next. Has obviously found improvement because, of course, he still needs to enlist a decent time on the board, and the Haas will no doubt be looking to do that, continue his reach vein that brought him to Q3 in the first place. He's just over 4/10 off, heading out to the second sector as he bursts through the Ascari chicane now. Takes a lot of the curb on exit. Very tidy, though, nonetheless. Certainly no snapping from the steering wheel at all as the Haas now bombs down through towards the Kerber Alboreto, formerly known as the Parabolica, as Liam now round the apex. Now you'll put the foot straight back down on that throttle as he bursts towards the line. Is it going to be enough to improve from P8? Oh, it is. It's P2, a purple sector 3 from Liam, and that will apply the necessary pressure here towards the end of Q3. A front row spot for Liam and the Haas.
Yeah, and here comes another purple sector 2 from Bushy Ants with a fantastic first sector as well. Not quite purple, but good enough. This could challenge for P1 right now. He had a bit of traffic there on the final straight before the main straight. Is it enough? It is at 119.404. Bushy, like Phoenix from the ashes, he rises to the occasion and goes provisional pole. Has to let everyone through now, as we now see all the times come in at the same time. GB68 first sector. He'll be the first one across the line of those with a last attempt here. And his first sector is actually red. It's not even a personal improvement. It's not good enough. We see purple for Meraki. Tom had a horrendous first sector, 26.4. 3/10 down already. This is not looking good. When it matters the most, it seems like Tom is falling apart. Second sector for GB, 26.7. That's looking better. That's green at least. There's an improvement to be had at least to P3 for Liam. Can he do it? Through Parabolica, goes wide, then goes narrow to the line, and it's a 1:19.6, and that is P3.
Yeah, absolutely. Teammate Marduk up towards the line as well, looking to try and move himself up the grid. He goes up to 4th fastest himself. We've got more cars coming through. Hayden Gullis stays where he is. Meraki heading through the Parabolica. Now Mr. Dale goes 5th fastest. He's in the pits though. Does not want to set another lap. In comes now Meraki, looking to try and improve from where he is.
Wow.
Goes to pole position there, Meraki. Once again, a clutch lap towards the end of the session. And that's a 1:19.350. Enough to trump Bushiance's time by nearly over half a tenth. It is over half a tenth. Superb stuff from Meraki. Williams Esports, sensational.
Yeah, and no one can respond. It's over. Apologies. Oh my. Everyone is done with their laps. It's over. Meraki once again on pole position with, once again, just an absolutely incredible lap. He has this tendency for the unpredictable and for the surprise right at the end of the session, for the dramatic, really. And it's just incredible to see. So Meraki once again on pole position. Now, can he turn it into a victory? That remains to be seen.
That will be the mission, but Meraki has started it well. A great start to the race weekend here at Monza. I tell you what, Saturday nights are looking good for him right now. He goes fastest here with a 1:19.350 ahead of Bushiance, who took 2nd fastest, but enough for the front row as well. GB68 in 3rd with Tiamat Marduk. A great lap towards the end to put him on the 2nd row in 4th. Mr. Dale in 5th place. I tell you what, a spark from Mr. Dale lately. Incredible to see. Liam in 6th. Tom in 7th as well. He was impressive in Q1 and Q2, taking the fastest laps in both sessions. Rasin Chai in 8th. Hayden Gullis in 9th as well. And what I could say to be probably one of the best qualifying performances from Infratic as well. 10th fastest for the Red Bull. And I think a going statement there to Dirk Chocolate. You need to pull your socks up, mate.
Yeah, I think in Q3, Infratic was just happy to be there, really, as we can see the P10 and quite a bit off. He did invalidate at least one of his runs, though, or his last run, I think he did invalidate. So obviously that wasn't, the 20.8 seems a bit unfair to him being a 2.5 off. He's not that far off. He just did not, he was not able to get the final run done. And we have rain to start the race. Regarding Mr. Dale, I think Miss Formula One in the chat, she thinks, her and I think alike in this regard. Dale has been getting some great tips from Arya. I think some of her talent has been rubbing off on him. Yeah,
absolutely. I think there must be some stuff that he's picking up. He actually said in the clip that she's teaching him. So, maybe that's the case.
It shows.
It does show. It definitely shows. So credit to Arya. I think if Mr. Dale does get a big result, a podium or even a race win here tonight, I think the trophy ought to go to Arya, I think, at this point. But yeah, we're looking forward to, obviously, what can only be described as a rain-soaked Monza, folks. You're going to be looking forward to this one. But first, we're just going to take a quick commercial break. Well, welcome back, folks. And yes, you are absolutely correct. It is not the Singapore Grand Prix. The note that's above Badgerman's head does state that it's actually the Italian Grand Prix. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to that, folks. But nonetheless, we are going to be going racing very shortly. Badgerman, after what we've seen in qualifying, is there any shocks, any drivers in particular that stood out for you? I can think of a few as the drivers are now making their way out on the formation lap. But give us your thoughts. Who do you think is going to be the one to watch. Also, live chat, who is getting the race win? Let us know.
Well, I think we didn't have so many like positive shocks. I think, you know, we see the usual suspects up front: Meraki, Bushians, Jimmy, Tiamat Marduk. You know, those are obviously the ones that you would expect. I think Mr. Down, Liam are probably the biggest surprises up there. Dale has done an incredible comeback from the results so far this season. P5, I don't think was really on the cards, but again, we talked about this. Arya certainly helping him there in that regard, but I think negative shock, it has to be Dirk. I think the Q1 exit, he's falling into old habits again. Very, very unfortunate to see. And I think Tom in a way as well. After P1 in Q1 and P1 in Q2, you have to expect more than a P7. I said he would be happy with, I think, any place in the top 4, but he didn't get that. He got P7 in Q3, and yeah, I don't think he's happy with that, and he shouldn't be. But yeah, it's a bit of a disappointment, but it's all to play for in the race. And I can tell you, chat, for the first, say, 15 minutes of this race, you don't want to go anywhere. Things will get spicy.
Yeah, absolutely. We have got changeable conditions lined up here at Monza, so do not go away. That's all I will tell you. And I tell you what, it's going to be a case of race management for a lot of these drivers on the grid. It's going to be tough. Plenty to look forward to, folks. And I, for one, am looking forward to it. There you can see the drivers list and the tyres that they have chosen. Intermediates across the board. Punji as well as Devon Butler already having to default to the grid because they've obviously had a collision somewhere along the lines. But now the drivers making their way forward. I'm going to ask you very quickly, Badgerman, who's winning this Grand Prix?
That's tricky with so many cars being as good as they are up front and the qualifying being so close. I'm going to say Meraki lifts the curse of this season and he's going to win this.
I can tell you, Meraki parking like Fernando Alonso at this point. Those of you
it's allowed.
It's allowed, apparently. So there we go. Never mind. We're about to get steady, well, ready to go nonetheless. Strap yourselves in, folks. We are here for what can only be described as a hellacious ride here at the Italian Grand Prix. Monza has never looked so good. Welcome to the Creator Series.
Hayden Gullis is sideways.
Leave a follow. Hayden Gullis has got himself stuck. Not quite sure how we're going to rectify this one. We are. I think we're okay now. Here we go.
Okay,
green flags.
He got placed.
Green flags are being waved as we get ready for the race. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, and the fifth light. And it's pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go. Certainly getting away well. Meraki off the line like a shot, but look at the start from Tiamat Marduk. He's up in a second already off the line, and has already got ahead of Bushians and Liam. Through the Retifilo chicane they go, 2 by 2, Noah's Ark through the first couple of corners, and Tiamat Marduk, what a rise from P4 all the way up to P2. Bushians now coming toe-to-toe as they round the Curva Grande. Now Tom also working his way up into P6. Mr. Dale down to 7th. Safso all the way up to 8th as well as they now scrap and they've got a collision. Goodness me, what's happened?
Yeah, Meraki just went deep into the second chicane, and now Tiamat Marduk is all over the back of him. He lost at least half a second there, and now they are battling over the lead.
Well, Meraki still holds on to this said lead, but still Tiamat Marduk pressurising and is not giving up and is in a very prime spot to make an overtake. No DRS though, folks, obviously, whereas it would become available in lap 3 due to the dire conditions. It will not be activated, obviously due to the current conditions that we have here at Monza as they now whip through the Ascari chicane. Now Meraki leading the way, Tiamat Marduk in second, Liam in third, Bushians still sits in fourth spot. Further back then GB68, who got a very sensible start as well. We did see some collisions further back heading through the Rogier chicane. Some end plates did go flying, and Tiamat Marduk with a huge chance now. Should he be able to enlist the straight line speed that he's looking for to make a move on Meraki for first place? Heading down now this long straight towards the Retifilo. There's certainly now the McLaren getting closer and closer, moves alongside now of the Williams as they head down in towards turn 1. It's Meraki in front and late on the brakes. Tiamat Marduk better in the zone. zone as they head out of turn 2. The McLaren shoots to the top. It's now Tiermet Marduk who leads the Italian Grand Prix as they now round the Curva Grande.
What a beautiful overtake. That was incredible from Tiermet Marduk. Up the inside for turn 1 and then found more grip around the outside of turn 2. Was able to carry a bit more speed, got the exit right, and now he struggles out of Della Roggia, and immediately now he's on the back foot.
He is, so now the inside line for Meraki now as they squeeze through Lesmo 1, Lesmo 2 comes up next. They remain side by side, but Tiermet Marduk just with enough to escape it. But look who's coming in to join the fight. Liam and the Haas looking to come and join the party as they head down towards the Ascari chicane. Now Meraki looks to the inside, chooses not to make the move. Wouldn't be sensible in these conditions. And Tiermet Marduk, as a result, I think he was slightly better heading out to the Ascari as well. I tell you what, Liam could be a threat to Meraki here.
He could very well be. He could be a threat to Tiermet Marduk as well, quite frankly, with the pace that he shows so far. He started P6, 2 places behind Tiermet Marduk, and he is now still 2 places behind Tiermet Marduk. So he's had as good of a start as a current race leader, as the fastest laps keep tumbling down. I think 4 messages there in the span of 5 seconds. It's quite incredible there. And we already have the first real big cut, I think, behind Tom, who started P7s up to P6, and Mr. Dale is starting to fall down the grid a bit. I think Aria taught him a bit more about qualifying pace and a bit less about race pace.
Yeah, he's still in the top 10 though. Good points on the offing. I mean, it always seems to be the case that Aston Martin tend to be stuck together like glue, as we're now seeing Zapso go wheel to wheel very shortly now with Rasin Chai. These two coming together now down the inside. Now they go in towards the Roger chicane. Zapso unable to take his chance. Still though holding on to that advantage, Rasin Chai, but for how much longer? Lesmo 1 into Zapso, of course last season's champion, now looking to rise up through the grid order. Can he hold on to the inside, make the move through Lesmo 2? Very tough round there, but Rasin Chai did well to defend.
Yeah, he certainly did. Very good defense, but it's not over. Here comes Zapso once again around the outside of Ascari. That is a daring move if he pulls it off, and he is not able to. Sticks back behind it. We have a yellow flag. That is for Alex Budd, currently in P19.
Look at him frantic though.
Yeah, I tell you what, someone who has already fallen down the order, by the way, and pitted already is Devin Butler. So the front wing that you may have seen earlier, it probably was off of that Alpine.
Yeah, Devin Butler not having the best of starts in the Creator Series. I heard a loud cheer from Aiden Jackson. I think from even here in the commentary box, as we're now riding on board here now with none other than Zapso, who's currently sat in 10th place now, emphatic with the most illustrious double overtake heading through towards Kerber Alboreto, as now Zapso looks to go in deep, take an outside line here on his competitor Rasin Chai, and goodness me, some action happening on further down as well, because enter El Taco Man, who looks to bring himself into the mix as well. I tell you what, they're scrambling all over the place for positions here in the top 10. Another man who's making a move is Tom, who goes down the inside of Bushy Ants, heading into the Roger chicane, and an Alex Budd 3-second time penalty. That won't help, but enter as well, Bushy Ants now, who's looking to try and, well, at least quell the response here from GB68, who looked to take that 5th place away from him. Tom, though, making moves. He's now up to 4th.
Yeah, incredible stuff from Tom. It also shows not only the pace from Q1 and Q2 was real, and he just got unlucky in Q3, but also he's got the race pace to show for it as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he closes down on the top 3. We have a yellow flag that is Alex Budd. Once again, in Lesmo 1, we're not going to pay much attention to that. We're just going to continue focusing here on the top 3. Then P4 to 6 with a wonderful battle. Mr. Dale in a bit of no man's land, and then Infratic, Rasin Chai, Zapso, and El Tacoman actually falling behind Dirk Chocolate here. And what you saw earlier there from Zapso falling down a bit, that was, I saw Alfie said in the chat he was lagging. It's not quite lag, it's a screen freeze that happened to Zapso there, which cost him about a second there, and lost him at least the positions to Infratic and Razin. As there goes Hayden Gullis up the inside of El Taco Man. Daring move, but the door was open and the position has been taken.
Yeah, brilliant move there from Hayden Gullis, heading in towards turn 1 at the Retavillo chicane. He'll be pleased with that one, and already making his way around the Curva Grande, trying to give chase onto Dirk Chocolate, who incidentally...
It's stopped raining.
It has stopped raining, and we did say about changeable conditions, folks. Obviously, it seems to have come into effect already. Now, just speaking, 10-second time penalty for Alex Bird. I tell you what, it's going from bad to worse. That's 13 seconds already applied to him here right now. I tell you what, that's not brilliant. But going back to Dirk Chocolate, what a rise he's had. 11th fastest now, Badgerman.
Yeah, already he's gained 6 places off the start in just 5 laps. So Dirk trying to make up for the horrendous Q1 performance there with a better race performance, and so far it's working out.
It is, and Zafso also trying again on Rasin Chai. These two, of course, have been squabbling for the last couple of laps. Once again, fastest lap here now for Tiamat Marduk. In the pits comes Meraki already, so opting to make the change. So he's picked the right spot. Now this could be a crucial move in this race. He's not alone, because GB68 has come in, Infratic is in, Hayden Gullis has also come in. Changeable conditions. Now, what's going to happen to the lead of this race? Because obviously Meraki, 1.7 seconds behind Tiamat Marduk. The track looks a lot drier. Now, are those intermediates going to let Tiamat Marduk down here, Badgerman?
I think they will. It was very tricky. The crossover is very quick. It went from and there is DRS enabled now, so all the drivers that have stayed out, they have to round the rest of the circuit. Very tricky call to make, and only a couple of drivers got it right. Meraki, GB, and Tragic, and Hayden Gullis, as well as Alex Butt and Devin Butler, obviously with the benefit of having a bit more time to decide because they were further down the order. They got it all right, but 14 other drivers did not, and that might cost a couple of drivers potentially on double stacks, although it looks like all the drivers, all the teammates are far enough apart so that it doesn't hurt them at all.
No, well, I tell you what, it's a very important time now. No doubt we'll see Tiamat Marduk come in. In he comes, straight away into the pit lane. I doubt he'll be alone either, because Liam also coming in as well. All of them are coming in. Now, the man we want to keep our eyes on here right now is, of course, that of Meraki, who's making his way down towards the Kerberal Barretto. He's already catching up with some of the intermediate runners dead ahead of him here. Lap 6 of 53 already. Things are kicking off here in this session, as now exiting the pit comes Tiamat Marduk. Now, where is Meraki in all this? Is he heading down the straight? He's in the background, and goodness me, like a shot, Tiamat Marduk exiting the pit lane. Here comes Meraki. It's going to be tight, I think. Is it going to be tight enough for Meraki to perhaps make a move? Not quite. Still with the advantage. Tiamat Marduk still retains the lead in this Grand Prix. Meraki, though, taking back his second place. I would say he's only gained half a second.
Yeah, but don't forget, Meraki's tyres are warm. Tiamat Marduk's are not, and they are medium tyres. They will take a little bit to warm up. So this is not the last we've seen here. Meraki will gain time through the corners on Tiamat Marduk, especially Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. And he's within a second now. Does he have DRS down the back straight? He does. He just got it. 0.98 was the split when he crossed the line, but it's under 1. So he got the DRS, and he's closing in now. And I can tell you right now, Tiamat Marduk's tyres are still not fully up to temperature. Mostly, the rears are up there. They got enough grip, but the fronts, they are still struggling a bit, and Meraki is looking feisty. And this is why Meraki went 1 lap earlier. Look at where Liam is now after doing so well in the first 5 laps. Pitting 1 lap later has put him behind GB68, who also went in early with Meraki. So that's a position loss right there.
And he's gone fastest.
From Meraki, of course. But GB takes that away from him. And here he goes up the inside of Tiamat Marduk, just like Tiamat Marduk did to him a couple of laps prior. Meraki does to Tiamat Marduk, and he makes it look easy as well.
He certainly does. A great move there from Meraki, of course. And I tell you what, these are the conditions that he thrives on now. Tiamat Marduk perhaps better in the wet, whilst Meraki better in the dry as they head down now towards the next chicane at the Rogier. I wouldn't say this is goodbye from Ben Daly, because nevertheless he has proven to be a very feisty competitor, a very pacey competitor in this championship, so do not write him off by any means. Of course, the winner of the British Grand Prix in this series not too long ago, but also he's up against that of Meraki, of course the winner of the Belgian Grand Prix in this season, and of course did it in absolutely stupendous fashion as well as they hurtle down the Serigilio straight. DRS there proving to be very useful for Team Mardik to stay right to the rear of Meraki. Might choose to open the door again, heading down the main straight. 3-second time penalty for Carbon Shadow. And now making their way down towards the next right-hander. Now we've got an update, of course, in the live chat. A lot of questions as to why Bushy Ants is in P8, says Just One Ali. And to answer your question, essentially he got bogged down, I think, at the very start. Got very close between the other cars out on track. I know he went wheel to wheel heading through the Rogers chicane. I know he got very tight with Tom as well, as GB68 goes fastest of all, as Liam takes that privilege off him as well. It certainly was a very rambunctious start to this Italian Grand Prix here, Badgerman.
Yeah, it certainly was. Bushy was just caught in the wrong place at the wrong time a couple of times in a row here. He pitted a lap too late for the medium tyre, and he was, as you mentioned at the start, he was sort of in the wrong place at the wrong time. Had to make sure that he navigates that mess that turn one here at Monza always tends to create. Navigate that safely, and that unfortunately dropped him a couple of places and has been battling with a lot of drivers ever since. But look who gained a lot from pitting a lap earlier. Infratic is in P7 right now.
I say the
that
same.
Is
the same about GB as well, because GB was down in P6, if I remember correctly, and now has seen himself move up 3 places as well. Pretty much the same number of places in Infratic. Remember, he was in P10 earlier on. So I tell you what, a few drivers have made some really outrageous gains through that weather change. So I tell you what, it's worked out well for those. I'd say Dirk Chocolate's had a good start as well. P12, remember, he didn't make it into Q2. So I think he'll be pleased with how the race has gone for him as well.
Yeah, I think he will be. At this point, P12 for Dirk means that, you know, he's somewhat close. He's very close to P11, actually. And he's then somewhat close to P10, P9. He's only 16 seconds behind the lead. And at the end of the day, this is the Creator Series. Safety cars are almost inevitable at some point. Even here at Monza, where there are runoff areas, it's still very likely to happen at some point. So wouldn't be surprised, you know, if we do see that. And if we do, then all of a sudden, you know, everyone gets bunched up back together, and it's going to come down a bit more to strategy. So for Dirk, nothing is lost yet, nothing's won either, but he's in a decent enough position. I think anyone in the top 14 right now is doing quite okay.
I think so as well. Infratic sitting in 7th place. He's now under pressure from Bushy Ants, who is just in behind him here. If Bushy can get a good run out of Lesmo too, it will tee him up perfectly here for a run with DRS heading down the Serigilio straight. There's the Red Bull of Infratic. Bushy Ants already has his headset on the move as they make their way in towards Ascari. He's made the move even before the corner. A brilliant move from Bushy Ants. The Mercedes ahead of the Red Bull. How often have we seen that? Those two constructors coming together, and Bushy Ants behind the wheel of this one. He's up in the 7th and now chasing Mr. Dale for a possible P6 place.
Yeah, fantastic overtake there. Uses the DRS, uses the battery. Beautiful efficiency from Bushy Ants there as well. He's still got 60% battery charge, plenty to work with. Made the overtake happen, made it look easy, and didn't overextend it. We've got a crash. Just Hun has crashed on the exit of Ascari. She is going again. Apologies for that. She is going again, but I don't see if she has any damage. I can't tell from the telemetry, but it seems like she was able to avoid the wall.
Yeah, I think she just got away with it. She's back underway, so great to see that. She's currently sat in 18th place ahead of Alex Budd and that of Devon Butler, who just gets his first time penalty of the day as well. We got a little bit of a tussle happening further down as well, because Dirk Chocolate under pressure nonetheless from Matty D13. Who is given chase. Started P12, he still remains in P12, but would fancy a go at P11 as the exit out of Lesmo 1. Just got Lesmo 2 coming up next. Dirk Chocolate just sort of making Matty's life a misery a little bit, almost holding up the AlphaTauri as they head down the Serigilio straight now. Dirk Chocolate now has Ascari up next with what looks to be the AlphaTauri, looking to try and make a potential move into this sector. Not quite. He can get a good run heading out of this portion of the track, though. This will tee him up beautifully heading down the main straight. Team Mardik takes the fastest lap of the race. Incidentally, he has got the lead again off Meraki. Not sure what happened there, Badgerman, but he has taken the lead. The gap looks relatively healthy. Has Meraki made a mistake?
I haven't seen it either. That's the problem, so I can't tell you. But yeah, the gap looks very healthy now, 9/10 of a second, and almost pushing Meraki out of DRS window, which would obviously make it significantly harder for Meraki to then close back in. Plus, they're on pretty equal battery charge. In fact, Temmet Marduk has a slight advantage over him of about 5 to 10%. Depending on where you look at it. But Meraki will get the DRS once again. Just barely, but he got it. And I think that should get him back in a better situation against Tiamat Marduk, who is trying his best to keep him away. They're actually equal on battery now, because Tiamat Marduk used a little bit to try to get away from Meraki. But right now, it's a bit of a stalemate between the two.
It is. Meraki is working to try and stay within DRS proximity. Of course, that will essentially keep him within the fight for the lead. Or should it stay like this, it won't just be Alex Gillen taking double race wins in a single Creators Series Championship run. Of course, Alex Gillen, the only driver to have that particular notion, or that notch on his lapel, at least for now. But it could be Tiamat Marduk or Meraki joining him at this point. GB68 also might have an answer to a potential race win, or certainly right now a podium. Fastest lap going to Tiamat Marduk right now. He is the fastest man on circuit and looking good value for it as well. Meraki, now has he broken within DRS of that McLaren? 1.2 seconds now is what we read. He is working to try and get closer. Needs to be a little better into the corners. I do wonder whether Tiamat Marduk has an advantage on the straight line speed side there, Badgeman.
I can check, and I can tell you that that is not the case. They are, but to be fair, they're all very evenly matched. But from what I can see here, the highest top speed recorded for Meraki Meraki without the JL so far. I will get this wrong. This will happen in the same way that Crofty mixes up AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo. That will happen. But yeah, Meraki has been recorded at 347 kph, and Tiamat Marduk's highest top speed has been recorded at 344. So Meraki actually has a slight advantage, it seems. However, these numbers can be down to things like slipstream, DRS, ERS usage. As Punju retires, that is on the exit of Lesmo 2, and that is a safety car.
A safety car.
Now that brings an interesting decision with it.
Well, that is...
Will the drivers pit for hards? Now, hards will make it to the end, but obviously there might be another safety car coming, and I see Curbs is actually in the pit lane because he has a 5-second penalty. Although he did get the 5-second penalty by speeding into the pit lane, so he didn't have it when he entered the pit lane. He got it right after. So, yeah, very unfortunate there. But he has gone on to hards. So he is one driver willing to gamble on that. And the question is how many more drivers will. Because you lose a lot of track position. Right now, I'm going to tell you right now, any driver would drop ahead of Taco behind Razin Chai if they pit. Even Tiamat Marduk. So it's a tricky situation. You gotta hope that many drivers follow you in for hards.
Well, I can tell you this, Punju looks, I think, a little disappointed, as you can see from the picture-in-picture here. In his first Creator Series race, he's out here at the Italian Grand Prix. And you can just see the misfortune, and you can just read his face. It's a picture right now. Big shame for Punju. Welcome to the Creator Series, my friend. It's a pleasure to have you here. Safety car ruling here at Monza. Tiamat Marduk leads the way, getting us off to what can only be described as a cracking start. I mean, we've had a huge battle for the lead right through between Tiamat Marduk and Meraki. GB68 currently sitting in third place as well. Liam in fourth. No other cars that I could see. No one else other than Curbs opting for those hard tyres.
Yeah,
so
everyone stayed out.
Well, effectively, that could give Curbs the jump later on into the race, Badgerman.
It could very well. He's going to suffer a little bit right now, but it will set him up better for the rest of the race, because as long as he just stays with everyone else, he's got the advantage that he won't have to pit again. And you got to remember, This is Monza. He's pitting again. Now, the reason why he's pitting again is to get rid of that 5-second penalty.
Yes, correct.
That's clearly, and I think he might actually pit again after that to get back onto the hard tyre.
Yeah.
Because you can't choose, which is something that I feel like I would love to see change. But you can't choose to not have your tyres changed and just serve a penalty.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately not possible. So he's going on to mediums, which would not make it to the end. So he would have to pit again if he wants to get to the end of this race. But yeah, it's an interesting situation. The problem it could lead to is the fact that if he goes to pit again, he might not catch up to the field in time. The field right now, the safety car is entering Parabolica, and Kerb's just exited the first chicane. So he's almost a lap behind the safety car at this point. If he pits again, you lose around 24 seconds in the pit lane here. So it's a lot of time, which means he will not gain that time on the safety car. And he might actually not be able to catch up to the safety car in time for the restart.
No, very true. The big talking point, though, I suppose, is the top two, because they've been squabbling throughout the start of this race. Obviously, this is a great opportunity for Meraki, who actually lost DRS earlier on. He now has a chance of getting it back, and at the same time, maybe even challenge Tim Marduk on the restart. But also, you've got to consider GB68 also had flashes of brilliance as well, where he took fastest laps throughout this race too. So, effectively, this has made this lead fight even more intriguing. Not to mention throwing Liam up there. Tom, who was looking quick at the start, is also in the mix and has been quick in Q1 and Q2. If Tom can bring that quali pace into this race, I tell you what, he's got a great chance as well, Badgerman.
Yeah, he does. Anyone in the top 6 right now has shown throughout parts of this race that they have a good race pace. Tiamat Marduk and Meraki have been battling back and forth for the first 15 laps. GB68 has been battling with quite a few drivers as well. Liam has shown that he could stick on the inter tires, that he could stick with Tiamat Marduk and Meraki. Tom has made moves left, right, and center, and Bush Jans is now in P6 after struggling on the start and losing out due to pitting onto dry tires a lap too late. So all 6 drivers very capable here. All 6 drivers can very easily just pull away from Mr. Dale, who I said earlier, I stand by that. It seems like he doesn't quite have the race pace of these 6 drivers in front. So I think that's where the first break is going to occur. And those 6, I think, will... I think all 3 podium sitters are currently in the P6, in the top 6. My goodness, I can't speak anymore.
Yeah, well, you could include Mr. Dale on that. Of course, he was showing some good pace in qualifying as well. There's a possibility that you could extend that to the top 7, I suppose, from the start of this one. What we can tell you is, though, folks, the top 13 have all got medium tyres on, including that of Hun as well, who's down in 15th, as well as Dirk Chocolate in 16th. Hun, with a brilliant recovery after her spin earlier on, now sees herself from P18, which is where she sat before. Obviously, since Punju's DNF here at this point, now sees Hun move up to 15th place. So she's in fact gained 3 places since the incident heading through Ascari, as now we're seeing them make their way down through towards the Rogers chicane. Great to see you guys as well in the live chat. Alcam, we can see you. A massive 176 live viewers here watching us here on the Creator Series channel. Pleasure to have every single one of you with us here for this race, the Italian Grand Prix here tonight. Make sure you smash a follow button as well just down below. Join the community, and don't forget to stay tuned in as well to everything Creator Series. We have socials at Creator Series as well on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And also don't forget to use the hashtag as well. Share your opinions on Twitter. Hello guys, hello Aaron there in the chat as well. Harry very kindly sharing the socials in the chat as well, so you can check those out as well. And please sit back, relax, enjoy the festivities, folks. No Grand Prix this weekend, but it's not a problem. We got you covered, and we're looking forward to seeing who's going to come out on top in this one. Still Team Armada going exceptionally strong, but this race is far from over, Badgerman.
Yeah, safety car in this lap now, so the drivers are going to prepare. And once again, keep an eye on Tiamat Marduk, not just because he's the leader right now and in charge of the restart, but also because he's notoriously bad at warming up his tires for a restart, and I can already see in terms of tire temperatures, yeah, he's struggling much more than anyone else. So he will be vulnerable in the first sector, and he's going for it already.
Well, it's pedal to the metal here for the second time in this Italian Grand Prix. And it's TMM Marduk who leads the way. Meraki in second, GB68 currently sat in third as well. Liam getting a great run here on GB68, heading down through towards the Retifinio chicane. Is he going to open up the door here? The Haas certainly does. Looks in the mirrors, can't quite make the move, but look at this send nonetheless from Mr. Dale, who's going to try and make his way through as well. Past none other than Bushy Ants, couldn't quite do it, but nonetheless they get away, and a little bit of nip and tuck further back as Devon Butler comes together with Alex Budd and Curbs as well, who's at the back.
Yeah, a lot going on here. It's quite incredible.
Oh, big spin! Goodness
me!
me!
That's a spin from Bushy Ants, and he's out.
He's out.
And that should be another safety car, I think. I mean, he's right on the racing line there. How can this not be a safety car? It's on increased.
Goodness
Please,
me.
FIA, Michael Massey. No, Michael, no.
Well,
how can this not be a safety car? That is incredible.
Heartbreak for Mr. Dale. Safety
There
car.
it is.
Safety car has come out. Race control a little bit slow on the uptake, but Mr. Dale involved in that incident, unfortunately with the wing damage on the front of the car. Heartbreaking scenes here, no doubt, certainly for Mr. Dale, who is in the mix, but also for Bushy Ants, who is always up there and challenging for the big results. TMM Marduk slowing the pace down, getting to within Delta, but Tom himself now up to fifth.
No, TMM Marduk with the dummy.
He sold the dummy. He did sell the dummy.
I thought he was going to pit for hards.
Well, Tom has come in.
Tom is actually in.
Tom has come in, and that, of course, means that he's going to make a change. Incredible scenes here, and Mr. Dale, no doubt, has got to come in as well to replace that front wing. Heartbreak for
and he
Aston
got
Martin.
a 5-second penalty as well when he came in.
Deary me. Is that just a case of frustration, do you think, Benjamin, at this point?
I think it's just a lack of concentration more than anything. It's a lack of focus at that point. You're trying to get into the pit lane. There's no hurry, really, because it's safety car anyway. You're likely going to lose all those positions anyway because you have that front wing damage. So I don't really understand why he sped into the pit lane like that. It wasn't a clever idea. It wasn't, like, he just didn't pay attention. And it's, yeah, lack of focus really is what it comes down to. But I wanted to mention something else now that we are under neutralized conditions here. As you may have seen, some of you, on the Creator Series YouTube channel, I think recently in the last couple of days, there was a video that went up, a sort of meme review of the Creator Series.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
you got done dirty there, Badgeman, I have to say.
I was done very dirty. I was taking the Will Buxton role, really. And I'm going to do this. I said in the comments I'm going to do this once every broadcast.
He's Badger Buxton, everybody.
Yeah. Clearly. So you're not going to know when it's happening, but at some point
you're going to sprinkle little references in the commentary.
There's going to be a little reference coming.
I love it. I love it. Just if you've just joined us, folks, obviously another safety car here. Bushy Ants, unfortunately, DNFing at the Rogier chicane after making contact. Looked like there was a few cars in the mix, but only one car I could see that had damage, and that was Mr. Dale. So it must have been an instant impact with him. Whether there was a collision with any other cars, I'm not sure, but we could only see the Mercedes around, and unfortunately Mr. Dale losing part of the front wing in the process, I believe. I would imagine it was a side-by-side incident. They certainly were glued together in the top 10. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Mr. Dale was P6 and Bushy Ants might have been P7 when they came into Rogier.
I think it was the other way around. I think Bushy Ants was 6 and Mr. Dale was 7. And Mr. Dale, I think, may have tagged the rear. I'm actually going to check. We do have a clip here from Dale's perspective that I'm just going to check real quick. But I think what happened, I was on board with Bushy at the time, so I didn't actually see. I just saw him spin. I didn't see if he was tagged or not. But it seems like there was a little bit. I don't want to report this clip. And yeah, he was actually tagged on the rear by Mr. Dale. Dale out braking himself just a little bit. bit there. And Bushy obviously having to be cautious because he had about 5 cars in front of him directly. And so, yeah, it was just, again, lack of focus, lack of concentration.
It's a tough it's a tough portion, though, of the track because, of course, the Rogers chicane can be quite deceptive in terms of the braking point, because it depends really on a various number of factors, and because we're running a dynamic weather process here, naturally, you know, your braking points really do change here at Monza. Certainly here at the Rogers chicane, where it is a very it goes almost from a slow speed corner straight away into a fast speed corner, especially here on this game. It's so rapid how it changes just like that. But we have got the safety car that's going to be getting back. Well, heading back into the pit lane. We're going to be getting back underway. Tim Marduk leading us around the Parabolica again. Now, is he going to choose to go again as quick as he did last time? Near enough, and pedal to the metal for the 3rd time here in the Italian Grand Prix. And Tim Marduk now leads the way, heads down the long straight, and still with a healthy advantage ahead of Meraki here at this point. The group now further back, all have sufficient gaps in between each other, though they still remain within DRS of one another, right back to within the top 6. More fighting further down as well, as Al Taco Man goes hunting as well out of P9, does not make the move, but a sensational turn of events. Hun is now up into P10, and Dirk Chocolate rounding the curve at Grande is now being met toe for toe by Alex Budd on his inside. They head down now towards what will be the Rogers chicane, the scene of where we lost Bushy Ants, and Dirk Chocolate with a mega squeeze against the sister car, the Alpha Tauri, very nearly capturing that of Tom, who takes the pair now as he moves up to 11th place. Through goes Tom under Lesmo, the Alpine just outside the top 10, and now chases Hun.
Carbon Shadow involved as well. Mr. Dale, that's Lesmo 1, exit of Lesmo 1. We might get another safety car.
Yeah, we do.
There it is.
Another safety car.
Yeah, I tell you what, if Aria had been driving that car, that wouldn't have happened.
No.
I mean, honestly, I think everyone just loves Aria. So,
she's a fan favorite here at the Creator Series.
She is, yeah.
Already.
But, I think Mr. Dale is going to be very frustrated. I hope we get a clip from our resident clip master, Harry59, in the chat. Hope we get something there to see what happened. And yeah, right now is the moment you want to pit for a new set of mediums. And I tell you what, Tom pitting last time out was the smartest thing he could do. He will take a couple more places here. He will go up to P9, and he is the leading car of all those that have pitted after the initial change from inters to dry tires.
Yeah. At the pit lane he comes in the McLaren car, and on now down towards turn 1. Meraki now takes over the lead of the race, and or at least for now. Of course, still yet to make a pit stop, but essentially a free pit stop there for Tim Marduk, and we know his pace. No doubt he will be trying to prosaically make his way through this field. Curb's currently sat in front of him in 14th place on the hards, and Devon Butler managing to recover some of the gaps that he lost as well. He's currently up to 13th place. For those of you who don't know, Devon Butler, he does have a real name. Of course, that being Adam Sanderson as well. And of course, you would have all seen the announcement out on social media on the Creator Series Instagram and Twitter socials as well. If you've missed it, go and check it out. It actually looks very professional, very F1-esque, if I say so myself. But here, once again, now up into 13th place. Tim Marduk now down to 16th. He'll be on his aggressive fight back now. Tom now in the top 10, currently sat in 9th spot. Zafso, who has also recovered, because remember, Zafso had a couple of issues in qualifying. He now sits in P7. So the safety cars have definitely helped him in many ways too, as they now work their way through this next straight. Hayden Gullis, no doubt, also has a nosebleed. He's in 4th place.
That's one way to put it. I don't think it's going to be a nosebleed. I mean, he is the giraffe after all. He should be used to height.
Yeah, that's true.
But I just checked the clip, and yeah, it seems like Carbon Shadow ran into the back of Dale, unsettling the car, and then ran into the back of him again as the car started turning around, started spinning, and that put the car into the wall. Now, that putting into the wall was at quite a low speed of only 70 miles an hour, and then decelerated quite quickly. However, and I think we're going to get to that once we head over to Lesmo 1, there is a bit of tire wall on the inside sticking out And once he was perpendicular, once he was 90 degrees around, then that front left tire hit that sticking out tire wall. That immediately dislocated the front left tire, and that was a game over. I think if we go on board with Meraki right now, we can see that on the right in a moment. There, it's sticking out right on the exit of Lesmore 1.
Well, there we go.
And yeah, and that is what got Mr. Dale. That tire wall sticking out is what did him in and what ended his race early, unfortunately.
Well, there's only one other driver that has led this Grand Prix other than Tim and Marek and Meraki. That, of course, being Bernd Mailander, who's led this race on now what has to be said.
And he's had enough already.
3 different stints. Yeah, he's given up. He says, I'm fed up of this. He's coming straight in. So there we go. We're going to have another restart here very shortly, folks. This time it's going to be Meraki taking them out for this restart. GB68 now up into second, Liam in third, Hayden Gullis currently sat in fourth. We have, of course, got Matty D13 in fifth with Rasin Chai then in behind him. So very shortly, folks, are going to be primed and ready. Meraki's going to be the man to take them away as they head up now towards the Kerber Alboreto. GB68 getting very close to the rear end of that Williams as well. And very shortly it'll be all on Meraki to put the foot to the floor as they exit now the Parabolica curve. Liam getting very well and truly close to him as well. And for the 4th time here, Ravaskin will put pedal to the metal again, or should I say the 5th time here in this Italian Grand Prix. And this time a sloppy start for GB68, who now has Liam all over his tail. Look at the cluster of cars further down as they headed towards the Rettivilo chicane now. Liam alongside that of the Aston Martin, who's braver on the exit. Foot to the floor for the Haas. It's Liam up into second. He now moves ahead now of GB68, who's reduced to third. Gullis down in fourth as well. A 10-second time penalty for Alex Budd is going from bad to worse. 26 seconds of time penalties, Badgerman.
The game is not nice to Alex Budd, I gotta say. So Alex Budd misses his brake marker, takes the exit road as he should, then slows down to make sure that he doesn't gain any positions. He loses 3 seconds out of that, and the game still punishes him with a 10-second time penalty. I mean, that is just unfair. If I was Alex Budd, I would be messaging Codemasters tonight about this, because that is just mean.
Well, I tell you what, he's a man who suffers more penalty glitches than anyone here in this series, but nevertheless, we're now watching the cars make their way down through. Incredible move there indeed, as we're now seeing the Ferrari of what looks to be, on our screens, they whip round El Taco Man moving up into 8th fastest ahead now of Matty D13, who had a very appalling restart through the safety car, has in fact lost 4 places now, but Matty looking to try and take them back. Further up, Zafso also trying to improve on his places. We've got another fight between Tom and Rasin Chai further up as well. Matty D13 looking to try and take the outside line, but look at this from Tom, who is looking to wrestle off Rasin. Is it enough? No, it's not. The Alfa Romeo now up into 5th, but further back, Matty D13, who's far from done, now has Dirk Chocolate alongside him, and the Red Bull now is up into the top 10, with Infrantic now down in 11th. Red Bull on for a potential double points here today in Italy. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, not just that. They might be up for a lot more, because right now, in terms of having to pit again, in terms of net positions, and I can't believe I'm saying Rasin's around.
Goodness me!
Tom!
It's Tom!
Tom is out! No! Oh, that is unfortunate. Another safety car. Taco getting a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Tom. I don't think he was able to avoid that. Once again, we're going to need clips there. Harry, I'm pretty sure he's on it already. Unbelievable. And the dream is over. And in honor of Tom, I think all we can say is, what the flip.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at his face now, his reaction. I tell you what, he's stunned. He's utterly stunned. And it happened on the exit of Lesmo. He took the grass on the exit of Lesmo 1, and you just know that it's going to go wrong. The problem is, as soon as you put your foot down, there is a lack of grip. More cars now piling into the pits. That, of course, being GB68 opted into box as well. El Taco Man, Matty D13. We've got Devon Butler in the pits as well. Hun has come in too. So many cars now changing. So the top end as well and truly changed. Yeah. Incredible scenes here. And Tom is so despondent.
And I tell you what, look at the order of cars right now. Devon Butler going for softs First off, we're going to talk about that.
Scrutinise it for us, Badgerman.
Clearly, Devin Butler needs a strategist in his life. That is just wrong.
I think we figured out. I think we figured out, right? I think we figured out the reason why he's no longer battling Aiden Jackson in the world of Formula One. So there we go.
Yeah.
You know,
bad pit decisions. That's what it is. But in other news, again, only the top 3 cars haven't pitted since the switch from inters to mediums, which means, and I can't believe I'm saying this, and I hope Red Bull Racing Esports are in the chat to watch this, net leader is Dirk Chocolate, and net P2 is Infrato. How did we get, and net P3 is Curves, of all people. How did we get here?
Well,
how did we end up in this situation?
It's time for I think it's time. I think to check the bomb shelter and start and get ready. Because honestly, who'd have thought this would happen, folks? Honest to God.
Where do I have my? I wish I had a bell. I could just ring the bell right now.
A siren.
The end is nigh. The end is nigh.
Incredible scenes. Safety car scenes here at the Italian Grand Prix once again, folks. I can't believe it, but I'm going to be saying pedal to the metal, I think, for the 5th time in this Grand Prix. In fact, I think we've already done that. I think we're on the 6th time now. Pedal to the metal for the 6th time in this Grand Prix. I tell you, I'm going to run out of numbers here. I'm going to have to start jotting these down just so I remember how many we've had. But honest to God, Bernd Mailander is getting his money's worth out of this one. I mean, to be fair, it's a constant scene here in the Creator Series, and we love it because it brings the field back together. They then go full send down towards turn 1. There's a big chance for an upset here today, though currently, as things are mapped out, Meraki is on for yet another win. He currently holds the on-track lead, but you do have to wonder, given the fact the strategies have worked out the way they have, I mean, could Red Bull get a podium?
That's a bit early. So there's still 26 laps to be had, so let's not get ahead of ourselves here. You know, at the end of the day, they are still...
What you really mean is, don't be silly, George. Dirk Chocolate cannot win this race.
I didn't want to say it, you know, I didn't want to say it like that, but yeah, it's possible. I'll say that. It's possible. I think it's unlikely at this point because there's a lot of race yet to be had, yet to be run. But at this point, it's unlikely, but there is a possibility of this happening. There's even a possibility of a Red Bull 1-2. Again, very unlikely. And if you were to bet on that, I'm not a betting man, you would probably earn a lot of money if you find a bookie willing to give you odds. But, you know, it is possible at this point.
Well, who'd have thought, folks? We've got the safety car entering yet another lap, and Meraki is leading them through. Liam in 2nd, Hayden Gullis currently sits in 3rd. I tell you what, it's been a sensational race so far. I mean, action-packed. I mean, I don't envy our video editor for this one. I tell you what, he's going to be very busy. I tell you what, if you've got time at all through your week, make sure you check out the socials, folks. It's going to be sensational. Lots of stuff posted on there. And let's go back to that meme video, Badgerman, because that was sensational. And do you know what? A lot of credit to the creator for that one, because it was sensational. I can't say that word enough against this thing, because I watched it, I was blown away. Now, I'm not a major digester of meme videos, but that for me had me rolling around laughing, that particular one.
Yeah, I am a major digester of meme videos, absolutely. I love that. And yeah, it was very well made. I was not the biggest fan of my own appearance there, but you know, you gotta take the rough with smooth. Yeah. And
what do you mean, Badger Buxton? You were sensational. You're brilliant. The brilliance of Badger Buxton, everybody.
Yeah, I think if I keep this up with the Buxton analogies here, then at some point
you might turn into him full time.
No. Oh, no. That means I would have to work out to get into his shape. No. I like my belly. I like to eat. Leave me alone. But no. Then at some point I'm going to become a staple of the meme videos. And I'm not sure I want that. But hey, safety car in this lap to get a bit more serious once again. And this time Meraki once again controls the field. And I had a look at his tire temperatures last time out, and he did certainly a better job than Tim Marduk did, which is a very low bar to clear. But he also was struggling a little bit. He was, when he entered turn 1, he was around 79 to 80 degrees, which is right on the cusp of maximum or full grip for the tires. It's almost there, but not quite. It's sort of, it takes 1 or 2 more corners, so he was in a good situation, but not perfect.
Well, it's pedal to the metal for the 6th time in this Italian Grand Prix, and Meraki sends them down towards turn 1. Liam in 2nd, and very close. The Haas certainly as they run down towards turn 1 now. He might have a chance here to go for the lead of this race. We've got side by side between Tiamat Marduk and Infratic. He doesn't go for the move now, Liam, but still, on the exit, he might still have a chance. Tiamat Marduk still, though, fighting here behind the 2 Red Bulls. The McLaren now up into 6th, and could yet challenge. Remember, he did box earlier on and has reasonably fresh medium tyres, as now we see Carbon Shadow. Is he round?
No, he's not. He was overtaken by Devin Butler and Matty D13 as they were all battling, and Curbs has lost position.
Oh!
He's dropped down to P9. Oh, where Devin Butler's around!
Devin Butler around at the Rosier, and now looking to try and correct himself.
And Taco as well.
Yeah,
Taco's out.
he's out. Goodness me.
That's
surely
in the middle
not.
of the circuit. Oh,
surely
Devin
not.
Butler.
It's not,
Devin
surely.
Butler can't.
It's not going to be a safety car, is it not?
Just wait. And no, the car got removed just in time for there to not be a safety car. I think what happened was that Taco was around, but I don't think he was out by courtesy of the game, courtesy of a wheel falling off, basically, of a tire falling off. I think he retired because he was fed up. He pressed the button to retire from the race. In part, possibly because he's still competing in the Sebring 12 hour at the same time on iRacing. That race isn't over and his team is going there. He might be on his way over to make sure that they're doing well. Maybe they need his help. I don't know what's going on. But there could be that potential. That's why Taco may be retired from this race. And I don't think we have run out of safety cars. We are not at maximum safety cars yet. We had 5. The maximum for 100% race, I think, at least in previous years, was 6, and I don't think they've lowered it. They might have increased it.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, folks. Obviously, if we get another incident, we are down to 13 cars here at this point. Devin Butler, of course, being our last recipient for a spin. We've lost Al Taco Man, however, which is a big shame. But nevertheless, do love the commitment. And apparently Taco had to restart his PC and was literally about to take control of the car, and all of a sudden was round. So that might be the reason why we didn't see the safety car. So there we go.
Tiamat Marduk with a move on Infratic, and now Infratic losing 2 places in one go, 3 places in one go. Not only Tiamat Marduk going through, but he also opened the door for GB68 and for his own teammate Safso as well. So 3 places lost here for Infratic. It's going downhill very quickly, but this is going to make it interesting because he's on these hard tires. He can make it to the end, so can 3 cars in front of him. But if he pits for fresher mediums, potentially softs at some point, if we do get another safety car, I think around lap 35 is when you can start thinking about softs. 38 when it's clear that you would go to softs if there was a safety car in those laps. It's an interesting thing. Devin Butler speeding in the pit lane. I think he may have damage from that incident with Taco. But yeah, Infratic, he's not out of this. He's struggling right now. He's struggling a bit for pace due to the hard tire, due to older hard tires as well. But it's not over. 1 safety car, and he could be golden.
Could well be. Dirk Chocolate also looking very racy on the back of Hayden Gullis as well, heading down the Sergilio straight. Tiamat Marduk also not too far behind. GB68 getting pulled through in this fight as well, as they now look to run side by side, heading through towards the Ascari chicane. GB68, what a move there from GB68. He's up into 5th, gets ahead of Tiamat Marduk, heading through the Ascari chicane, and Zafso, who gets a huge run, heading out to the final corner of Ascari, might choose to overtake his teammate, heading in towards the Kerber Alboreto corner. But what a sensational overtake, heading through the Ascari chicane by GB68. Credits to Tiamat Marduk as well. Great driving between the pair of them.
Yeah, very much so. We know that these 3 drivers that are here in a pack, as Dirk is going for the move on Hayden Gullis and gets him. on fresher medium tires. That certainly helps coming out of Parabolica. But what a fantastic overtake. And meanwhile, Tom coming through with the massive raid. Thank you very much, Tom. I think both George and I are very sad. I don't know if I can speak for you, but I certainly was very sad to see you retire from the race this early. Hopefully next time it's going better. But thank you so much for the raid. Much love from the family I see in the chat, and much love to the family from us here in the commentary booth.
Yeah, massive thank you to Tom for that brilliant raid indeed. 281 of you joining us here at the Creator Series for the Italian Grand Prix. Incredible to say the least. What drama. Shame to lose Tom at this very vibrant point, especially after a sensational qualifying where he took the top spot in both Q1 and Q2 in great fashion, and no doubt deserved a lot more from the race. But I'm sure you'll be back fighting up at the top end as well. Great to see you back, Tom. But we're now seeing the cars now make their way in towards Curber Alboreto again. Lap 32 of 53. Meraki in front, Liam just in behind as well. Well within a second has DRS as well. Dirk Chocolate having arguably the race of his life here, but look at GB now. Look at the challenge. Hayden Gullis, two former teammates, and breezing on by there. Certainly goes GB68, who does have a little look on Dirk Chocolate as well. Great chance here for the Aston Martin, who was in P3 earlier on. He's now retaking the positions that he did lose, and now you could see him with the exit speed heading through the Curber Grande as they work their way down through towards the Roger chicane. Dirk Chocolate still with third, but now probing the rear end of that Red Bull is GB68, and I have to tell you, Badgerman, he looks so quick.
He does. He's got another 10-lap advantage on Dirk Chocolate, who himself has a 10-lap tyre advantage on both Liam and Meraki as well as Hayden Gullis. So that's 20 laps that GB68 has as an advantage on Gullis, and so that made the overtake quite easy. And now he's challenging Dirk, who did not get the DRS, barely missed out. Tiamat Marduk going past Hayden Gullis here into Ascari. Gullis really driving like an anchor right now, just falling down the order. A very heavy weight there on his shoulders. And very unfortunate. And Devin Butler getting the 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags. I think that's a rule he just didn't know that because he's ghosted. He thought, oh, well, I'm ghosted for the other cars. They can drive through me. Surely I'm not getting penalised for ignoring blue flags.
Oh, here we go.
Just continue my race, but never mind.
We got Liam now making a move for the lead of the race here past Meraki. GB68 on Dirk Chocolate as well, heading through the Renzo Filio. Liam takes the lead here at Monza in superb style. Here further back as well, GB68 moves up into third place, retakes the position that he lost during the safety car fun that we had earlier on at the starting point here in this Italian Grand Prix. We're now on lap 34, and the Aston Martin now with a brilliant run through the Roger chicane is now peppering the rear of the Williams belonging to Meraki. Those extra life on those medium tyres working so brilliantly for GB at this point. Third place, and could be on the cusp of a race win if he carries this pace through.
Yeah, I tell you what, GB68 is praying right now for no more safety cars. He just wants this race to end as green as possible, because that would bring him to the victory. It would bring him to his first victory, and a well-deserved one at that. Look at it. He's just creeping up on Meraki. Goes for the move before Parabolica. Never mind. He just had a look, decided against it, but surely he's going to have to make the move soon. If I was him, I'd be very impatient right now. And he's trying to do it down the main straight. This could be 3 wide here. Oh, it is! It's
3 wide, heading down now towards the Retofilio, and Liam has lost 2 places. GB going for the lead here at this point, but Meraki has the inside line into turn 1. Outside now, that becomes the outside line for Meraki, but here comes GB68. He takes the lead here in Italy, and now Liam looking to try and get back at least one of the places that he lost, challenging Meraki here on lap 35, heading down now out of the Curva Grande into now the Rogia. Liam now with a nose in front, the front wing of the Haas getting squeezed through into Tiamat Marduk, who looks to come in and join the fight. Podium on the table, he grabs it with both hands, a wing in front, and it is Tiamat Marduk who makes it through to third place.
And now GB68 has to run away as far as possible. Liam, no DRS this time around. That leaves them vulnerable to Tiamat Marduk and the whole pack behind. But Tiamat Marduk can't make the move happen just yet. He was not quite close enough. And a bunch of drivers now struggling on battery. Meraki blinking, Liam blinking. Tiamat Marduk not so much. And GB68 isn't either. Safso goes past Meraki here. Or does he? Round the outside of the Parabolica. They will both have DRS off of Tiamat Marduk ahead. And now Liam goes to pit. And that frees this bunch to now hunt down GB. 1.5 seconds the gap from Tiamat Marduk to GB. Now, is that enough for GB to hold the lead and to hold them behind and manage this race home? This is going to be a manic battle and a bit of a distant battle. 1.3, 1.2. Actually, Tiamat Marduk with a much better exit out of the Retifilo chicane through Della Rocha. He's not gaining that. That was a bad exit, actually. So it's going to be tight. It's not going to be DRS just yet. Once these guys start battling, it's green light for GB. But I'm pretty sure Tiamat Marduk and Safsa are talking right now. They are teammates. They know each other. I'm pretty sure they're talking. They're saying, hey, let's not battle here. Let's not risk this, because this could easily be a McLaren 1-2 if they play their cards right.
Absolutely. I tell you what, opportunities for a lot of drivers here to get the big points. Red Bull still on for a great result here as well. Currently holding P6 and P8. Dirk Chocolate, could he be on for one of his better Creator Series races? He is closing up on Hayden Gullis. Those two were fighting earlier on. Fastest lap though for Tiamat Marduk, who of course led the race at the start. Remember, it was back and forth, well, to and froing between him and Meraki at the start. I mean, we've since seen more cars enter the fray, and I did say this could happen under the safety car scenarios that we had presented in front of us. And without shadow of a doubt, they certainly have done. Just want to say a big hat tip to Punju in the live chat as well, who's saying, come on, GB, giving him his support. It was an incredible effort from Punju. Great to have you here at the Creator Series. It's a pleasure to have you a part of it. Absolutely. And we'll hope to see you back again very soon as well. GB68 leading the way, 1.1 seconds ahead now. In second place is Tiamat Marduk. So I tell you what, advantage the Aston Martin here at this point. And Zavso, yeah, he's fallen off as well. So the two McLarens now, quite healthy gaps in behind. And this could allow Meraki back into the podium places here.
Now Meraki still has to pit. His tyres are not going to make it to the end. He is on 31 lap old hards. I can tell you his rear left is really struggling in all of this. Over 60% tyre wear on the rear left already. He's pitting soon, potentially this lap.
Well, there we go. So GB68 now, who will commence his next lap as well as he now crosses the line. Tiamat Marduk in hot pursuit. That gap there outside a second, but Tiamat Marduk, again, fastest lap of the race. And looking good on his medium tyres as well. Zapso still back. And I tell you what, 2.2 seconds now between Tiamat Marduk and his teammate Zapso. GB68 is going to be very wary because this McLaren is getting closer and closer. And we're here on lap 38. The timer is ticking downwards, folks. And with what can only be described as we're coming down in towards the sharp end of this Italian Grand Prix race, you do have to wonder whether there are a touch of nerves starting to creep in to GB68 right now, Badgerman.
Yeah, it's still very close there, 1.2 seconds. It's a bit of a stalemate. Bad exit from GB. This might open it up for Tiamat Marduk, who might get DRS. No, he just missed out. Oh, that was close. I actually saw the gap on the line. It was 1.000. But it seems like the fourth digit behind the decimal point must have been bigger than 0. So that it was rounded down, and therefore he did not get the DRS. So Tiamat Marduk is not getting it just yet, and now it's up to 1.1 here before Parabolica, so no chance for him to get it this time. But this battle far from over.
No, not at all. GB68 still leads the way, and 15 laps to go. Race control have confirmed, and Tiamat Marduk now, it's all on him to close the gap if he wants to take victory here in the Creator Series for the Italian Grand Prix here at the International, or the National di Monza. We'll have to wait and see whether he can pull this off. Obviously, plenty on the table for these drivers. Points mean prizes here, certainly here in the Creator Series, not to mention reputation as well. And GB68 looking for at least the first time to notch his name on the list of first-time race winners here in this series, and what a decorated list he would join as well. Obviously with the likes of Tiamat Marduk, who did take a win back at the British Grand Prix previously as well. Looks like he could be this time on to remain in second place, but take nothing away from him. It's been a sensational battle, but now he's within a second and he can challenge now here, Badgerman, I think.
He can, but he doesn't have DRS according to my screen at least. He's not gaining enough. I think he's used a bit more ERS and had a better exit, but he needs to make sure he stays within 9/10. It's actually better, so he is there now. And now something else comes into play. I just checked. Tiamat Marduk has no warnings to his name.
Goodness me.
Zero.
So one penalty.
GB68 has 2 track limit warnings. And oh my, once again, it seems like Tiamat Marduk did not get the DRS.
Wow. So he must have
lost it on the exit of Ascari. He lost too much time, and he's not closing in.
So maybe lost, maybe either GB68 used some of the battery heading through the Parabolica, perhaps.
Empty.
Well, goodness me. Obviously a better exit, to say the least, but Tiamat Marduk still has chance, still has time. Of course, 14 laps in total if you include this one now, as GB68 out of the Curva Grande. I tell you what, Tiamat Marduk still looking immensely strong, though. Still holds the fastest lap of the race. Zafso in behind him. Has incidentally been working to try and bring that gap back, but I think he's got too much to do. Meraki, incidentally, also falling out of DRS with that of Zafso. But absolutely phenomenal, to say the least. GB68 piling on through, down through the Serigilio straight. He'll then tackle the Ascari chicane. Doing brilliantly, I have to tell you. I know exactly what his strategy must be. Keep Tiamat Marduk outside of DRS for as long as possible. Maybe force him to use the tyres a little more.
Yeah, possibly. That's the one thing GB has going for him, is the fact both drivers are out of battery and GB has slightly fresher tyres than Tiamat Marduk. So that is his only advantage right now. He has to lean on the tyres a little bit more in these remaining 12 laps, or 13 laps. They just crossed the line. In the remaining 13 laps of this race, as Meraki finally pitting, Hayden Gullis staying out, surprisingly, on the same age of tyre. Surely they are screaming at this point. And Hayden Gullis is hoping for a safety car to bring him back into this race. Well, as Meraki is obviously going for softs with 13 laps remaining. That is the right choice to make. And he will be trying to make up some positions.
Yeah, he certainly will be. GB68 now still nursing a reasonable advantage. I will say this, Tiamat Marduk, I think, will have a chance to get closer. He certainly looks a lot better in this middle sector. It just tends to be sector 3 where it just slips up for him. But heading down the Serigilio straight, he does have DRS this time. So this race is now alive and kicking. I tell you what, the top prize of P1 is on the table. Now, can Tiamat Marduk reel in the time gap heading through the Ascari chicane, or will GB68 do enough to hold him back? It looks like, though, this time it becomes apparent that Tiamat Marduk will have a great chance to take the lead of the race. GB68 currently holds the lead, or at least the on-track lead advantage, but that could be very quickly seeped away as they head through Curva Alboreto now. GB68 heading down the long straight, past the paddock on the right-hand side and the pit lane, with Tiamat Marduk sending it now down through towards turn 1. He won't be close enough this time around, but just being within DRS will give him a chance to close the gap.
Yeah, meanwhile, Hayden Gullis into the pit lane now. His tyres are absolutely done and dusted, so no surprise there. Follows after Meraki 1 lap later, going for softs now as well. But yeah, this battle here for the lead and for the win, it has well and truly come alive. And yeah, it is actually true. GB68 is harvesting battery right now. Ben was blinking for parts of this lap already. Not right now. He's harvesting a little bit as well. But GB68 just fully harvesting. He has a 15% advantage over Tiamat Marduk. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm GB, I wouldn't be too fussed if Ben overtakes. Because it's still 12 laps to go, 11 laps to go at the end of this one. There's plenty of time, and Monza is a track where it is famously easy to overtake, to get someone back on the final lap, on the penultimate lap. You know, you can make that position up again. So this is going to be incredibly tactical, and both drivers are going to play mind games with each other. And I'm going to tell you what, this might bring Safso back into the fold as well, because Safso, out of those 3 drivers right now, he is the quickest.
Yeah, certainly is. GB now, I mean, it's like you allude to, if he loses the lead, of course, we've got 10 laps to go, might be sensible to just sort of save up that ERS and make it a last couple of laps, or maybe a final 2-lap dogfight towards the end. Maybe that's the sensible route.
GB's using it to make sure that he can run away and get out of the second again. Oh, this is clever. He was harvesting some. Now he sees that Ben made a mistake, and Ben made another mistake. Braked a bit too early, I think, into the Della Roger, and the gap is back up to 1.1, and Ben back out of DRS.
That's incredible. Meraki also taking the fastest lap as well, pitting onto the soft tyres. And we'll have to see whether he can use them to get closer. Of course, he's got to try and chase after Liam for that 8th place. I tell you what, the gaps are now getting very, very tight here in the midfield, as we're now seeing Liam come together with Carbon Shadow, who's also on for a top 10 result here, though he does have 6 seconds of time penalties, which would send him back to P10. Hun also 1 place out of the top 10 as well, and if she can get close enough, she could benefit off those time penalties herself as well, Badgerman.
She very well could, yeah. There is a lot of opportunities to be had with Infratics, and especially Carbon Shadow's time penalty here. There's definitely opportunities. It would help if there's another safety car for the drivers that are behind P6 and P8 respectively. But even without, if there's a little bit of pace to be found, which right now seems unlikely for Hun. She's on 20 lap old mediums. Granted, some of those were under the safety car, but still, those tires are not going to be in great shape. So that's going to be difficult for her to make up time, as Meraki goes past Carbon Shadow on the soft tires there, as easy as you like. Now he's hunting down Liam, who's on quite fresh mediums, to be fair, so that might not be as easy of an overtake for Meraki, but with the pace that he has, it should still work out. And then he's going to hunt down Infratic, as the gap between Temp Marduk and GB68 now solidified at 1.2 seconds. And once again, Temp Marduk is using all of his battery to try to get closer. He's blinking almost all the time. There it is again. And again, as you can see, he is blinking, whereas GB, he's saving battery once more. So he's really leaning on the tire to make sure that the gap is enough, and at the same time that he can harvest battery as well.
Yeah, sensational scenes here. GB still maintaining the lead of the race. Tiamat Marduk now being forced to perhaps use that battery. You see him flashing now on the rear wing, and certainly at the rear of the car as well. Obviously trying to conserve at least some to try and bring the fight to GB towards the end of the race. You've got to give credit to GB, managing this race superbly well. But look at Safso as well. 3rd place, bringing himself back into the mix here. Of course, with Tiamat Marduk not in DRS, if Safso could get into DRS of his teammate, it could perhaps open up a chance for him to perhaps challenge for the top 3. And may I also allude to the fact that Dirk Chocolate on for a sensational P4. I mean, incredible. And Red Bull as a team, P4 and 6 in this top 10 affair as well.
Yeah, I tell you what though, I just checked Dirk's tire wear, and I had a bit of a worry. I thought he was going to make it, but it looks like right now, I thankfully do see his tire wear, and the calculation says he's going to finish this race with 78% on the rear left tire, which takes the biggest beating around here. All the other tires would not be in puncture territory, so he would really only gamble on one of the 4 tires. I think the rear right is going to finish on 70, so it would just cross the line and then enter puncture territory right there. But it is a bit of a gamble to make to take that rear left all the way to 78%. It's certainly, I think at this point, a gamble that is absolutely worth it. Even if Matty D overtakes him, which seems likely at this point, that would still be a P5 for Dirk. That would be 10 points and about as high as we've ever seen him. As here goes Matty up the inside. Dirk trying to brake late and keeps the position for now, going through Retifilo. But it's going to be a bit of a dramatic one, I think, with Dirk and his rear left tire.
Yeah, we've also got a squabble here between that of Liam and Meraki as well. Meraki on those fresh softs. of course, did take the position away from Liam earlier on, but he's proving to be a tough cookie to crack as they head through the curve at Grande now. You just see their inside line for Liam heading down towards the Roger chicane. Inside line, though, for Meraki, who will surely make light work of it there on the soft tyres, and surely the exit speed will benefit him, but still Liam coming straight back at him, switches to the outside, heading through Lesmo 1, but Meraki doing enough to hold on. Looks down the inside now, does the Haas, not quite enough to get through Lesmo 2, and Meraki, stern defensive effort, and held on to that P7 position on those fresh softs.
Yeah, and here you can see why I generally prefer the medium tyre over the soft, even in late race situations when you only have a certain number of laps left, around 10-15 laps. I still prefer the medium tyre because it just gives you that consistent grip. The soft tyre right now is 5 laps fresher than the medium, but you can see that Liam can stay with Meraki quite well and doesn't lose much, and that will reverse over the course of the next 7 laps that these two are still doing. That's how bad the performance from the soft tyre is. It's incredibly unuseful as a race tyre this year on F1 22 across all circuits, by the way. This isn't a one circuit thing for Monza or, you know, only a couple. No, this is everywhere, and the medium tyre is the race tyre generally to be on this game. So if you're watching right now and you like playing this game, you like playing career, my team, co-op, whatever, league racing, the medium tyre is the tyre to be on.
Absolutely right indeed.
Oh, Tiamat Marduk is closer to GB again.
He certainly is. The gap is now reduced, and he's not far away from half a second as they exit now out of the Ascari chicane. And now's the time to perhaps start asking questions, thinks Ben Daly, as now they sit on lap 47 of 53. Soon to start lap 48 of 53. Let us know in the live chat, who do you think wins this race? We got Zafso as well, who's also bringing himself into the mix. Remember, last season's champion is also joining the fight. McLaren on for a really good batch of points here. And now Tiamat Marduk with the DRS open, heading down the main straight in towards turn 1 at the Rettifilio chicane, is now haunting the rear end of that Aston Martin, and GB68 race win on the table. Can he take it?
Yeah, at this point, I think GB's best bet is to just harvest the ERS, just be incredibly stingy with it. Just do not even look at that ERS, but let alone press it. You're just gonna stay off that for the rest of the race. And if Ben wants to overtake lap 48 right now, lap 49, lap 50, I think he should be GB's guest. And once Tiamat Marduk is ahead, he won't be able to save much ERS, and GB has that advantage right now by 20 percentage points on the battery. That would be around 800 kilojoules of extra energy to deploy, and that, I think, is plenty to either defend or, as I said, if Tiamat Marduk does go past, to then later on attack and make sure that Tiamat Marduk has nothing to respond with.
No, not at all. I'll tell you what now, he might have a chance though, Tiamat Marduk, whether he stays behind GB68 here with 5 laps to go as we now get confirmation. Don't forget, folks, as well, you should be able to vote for your driver of the day on Twitter. That link might become apparent very shortly, so keep your eyes peeled for that as well in the live chat. We do run that poll. We started running it back in Saudi Arabia, so please keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm sure you'll see that very soon too. GB68 leading the way, and Tiamat Marduk here in second, trying to chase him down. They're both within a second of each other here on lap 49 of 53. I can see a lot of comments in the chat saying GB, let's go. A lot of support for GB here as well. Bird the word saying Dirk for the race win. Not sure that's going to quite happen here. P5 though could be on the table here for him. Both he and his teammate in the top 6. P5 and P6 for Red Bull certainly is a great result for them, as we're now seeing the cars work their way down this long straight now. There you can see Tiamat Marduk with the rear wing open, chasing after GB68 as they now hurtle towards the Ascari chicane. GB still with the advantage further back. There's Zafso, as now we're seeing them now work their way through towards the long straight, the back straight, before they head around the Parabolica bend. Now this will provide Tiamat Marduk a great chance should he be able to get a great exit, because he would love to tee it up if he can get that rear wing open. It will give him that beneficial straight line speed, and if he can get in the slipstream as well, he might be able to open up the door here on the Aston Martin as they now send it now across the start-finish line, past the pit lane on the right-hand side. Is it going to be enough for Tiamat Marduk now with 3 laps to go, or 4 laps including this one, as they now send it in towards the Rettifilio? Still not quite close enough, but he's getting closer with every moment now, and will exit here out of turn 2 with a great chance if he wants to try and unleash the beast. They head around the Curva Grande. Is it enough here for Tiamat Marduk? Not quite. I think he's going to be patient here, Badgerman, not opting to open the door just quite yet.
Yeah, and I tell you what, the advantage that GB had, he did not heed my advice at all. He squandered it. He's actually 3% down on Tiamat Marduk now. Tiamat Marduk has been the one to stay off the overtake button entirely, and GB has been using some, not much, but some, and it's too much. Right now, they're both at around 45% of battery, but again, Tiamat Marduk now has the advantage of DRS, so that makes it harder. However, there could be a lifeline thrown in the remaining laps to GB68, because if we look a little bit across the in front of the road ahead, we see Devon Butler is currently in Parabolica, and he has lapped he's lapped twice already, could be lapped the 3rd time, but lapped cars give DRS. So if GB closes in on Butler, he might just snatch one DRS zone where he can defend easier, and that might swing it his way potentially. 3 laps to go. This is where it all goes down.
Yeah, and look at Safso as well, also trying to clamber into the mix as well, P3, and has also done a superb job of bringing his car as well into the top 3 equation as well, and in the top 2 equation even too, as they head in towards the Roger chicane. Now there you can see the Aston Martin of GB68, no flashing on the rear of either car as they hurtle through the first Lesmo, and there we see the cars working their way through this next right now. It's still GB68 leading the way. And now sending it down this next straight, the Serigilio straight, where the DRS can be opened up here for Tiamat Marduk. Of course, Ascari will come next, and we know how good he is at that particular portion of the track, but equally so is GB68 as they now enter it now. There you see Zafso in the background. 2 McLarens occupying the top 3 places, or at least 2 of the top 3 places here in this Italian Grand Prix. But just look at the pace here on this McLaren now, as Tiamat Marduk, who is now all over the rear wing of that Aston Martin. GB68 knows, and a little twitch there from the Aston Martin, a little bit of sensitive nature in the eyes of GB, as now we see Tiamat Marduk look to open up the door, heading through towards the Rettifilio chicane. Lap 52 of 53, penultimate lap. Tiamat Marduk, Benjamin Daly takes the lead here at Monza, in what could be his 2nd Creator Series race win in his history of competing here in the Creator Series.
And I'll tell you what, Safso is just happy to be here at this point. He has still, despite both drivers, Tiamat Marduk and GB68, just burning their batteries down the main straight there during that battle, Safso is still down on both of them by 5 and 10% respectively. Right now, this is Tiamat Marduk's race to lose, as he seems to have a bit more pace. GB68, half a second away now, has DRS, but they are pretty equal on ERS. It's coming down to this final lap. Did Tiamat Marduk attack too early, or was it just in time? Now he wants to catch up to Devon Butler to maybe get DRS on the final lap of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Now they're going to be making their way towards the Curva Parabolica. It's now or never for GB68. Needs a huge exit heading out of this very, very tight but high speed hairpin corner. They now send it down towards turn 1, and he's going to need absolutely everything in order to maintain a solid challenge here on Ben Daly for the win here at Italy. As now he looks to the inside, does not go for the send here, but holds the rear wing here of the McLaren. Benjamin Daly going very deep in towards turn 1, out of turn 2 as well, through the Curva Grande now, here on the final lap, 53 of 53, here at the Italian Grand Prix in the Creator Series. Tiamat Marduk still leads the way. Right on his rear though is GB68, who can't quite open the door here on the Australian, still has an advantage, but a better exit there indeed from GB68 as they enter the first Lesmo.
Yeah, that's the opportunity that GB was waiting for, but Lesmo 1 did not go his way. Lesmo 2, pretty equal. I think slightly better for Tim Marduk. And he's not using battery right now. GB68 is not using battery to get closer. That is surprising. Oh, late on the brakes. What is he trying to do here? I don't really understand. That was his opportunity. He's going for it here. He's going for the surprise attack. Well, look at this, the slipstream. He's going for this.
Yeah, he certainly is. Down the inside now as a look to the inside here, heading through the Parabolica. The Aston Martin throwing everything at Benjamin Daly. But no, the spell will be broken. It won't be a fourth time for Alex Gillen because his main rival, Benjamin Daly, Tiemet Marduk, wins the Italian Grand Prix and his first one since the British Grand Prix last season. What a sensational result. GB68 gave it everything, but he comes home in second in what will be a double McLaren podium. Zafso, last season's champion, comes home in third place. What a race, Badgerman.
Yeah, what a race, and I'll tell you what a race for another driver. Dirk Chocolate finishes in P6. 8 points for the creator of this league, of this series, for the one whose brainchild this is. Finally, Dirk getting himself a good result. It's been in the making for a long time, and finally everything comes together for once. I think he'll be happy.
Well, we had Alex Gillen take victory at Bahrain, Mexico, and Saudi Arabia. He takes a hiatus for one single race. And his main rival here in the Creator Series, Tiemet Marduk, takes victory here at Monza. Now, this is brewing to be a sensational story, one that will be spoken about in the arches of the Creator Series, no doubt, and no doubt by you people at home as well. The GGs for Ben are coming through the live chat. Thank you, every single one of you, for watching on. I hope you all enjoyed it. It was absolutely superb. We will, of course, have interviews as well with the drivers to boot as well. But Tiemet Marduk, without a doubt, a stellar performance here in the Creator Series. The game gives Driver of the Day to Zafso. Of course, if you haven't had a chance yet to do so, don't forget to vote for your Driver of the Day, of course, on the Twitter, the F1 Creator Series Twitter account. Make sure you check that out and land your vote there as well. We'll go through, obviously, the results very shortly. Of course, after the podium celebrations, that man is going to be standing true out on top of the podium, and indeed it was a sensational result. Tiemet Marduk, your victor here at the Italian Grand Prix, joined by his teammate Zafso in third. Second place will go to perhaps a disappointed GB68. He would have thought he could have brought home the big result, but still nonetheless, second place and a podium to boot for his first one this season is pretty good going, and I'm sure he'll be delighted with that. It was a stellar performance around a very tricky circuit. Despite being fast-paced, Monza in its own way can be very technical. Tyre wear, of course, has to be monitored carefully. Planning your strategy is ultra important as well. But Tiemet Marduk is confirmed your race winner here. GB68 in second, Zafso in third, Matty D13, a great drive from him, fourth place. Meraki in fifth as well. Dirk Chocolate in sixth. Great result for him and Red Bull. Liam in seventh, Hayden Gullis in eighth. Infratic completes a double top 10 for Red Bull, with Carbon Shadow lining up in 10th as well for Ferrari. Curbs in 11th, great drive from him as well. Just Hun finishing in 12th. Devon Butler, unfortunately it wasn't the debut to be. 13th is where he stayed. Al Taco Man unfortunately retiring along with Tom Rasinchai, Alex Budd, Mr. Dale and Bushy Ants, as well as Punju on debut. And he did not see the end of the race. But how about that, folks? Badgerman, was it the result we expected? Oh, I'm not quite sure. Of course, we know that Tiemet Marduk led the way for quite a vast portion, but those safety cars in between, it really did throw a giant curveball to many of the drivers out there.
Yeah, it certainly did. I mean, we had plenty of drivers that could have won the race. I mean, just think of Bushy and Tom not even finished. Both of those retiring with plenty of laps to go and causing some of those safety cars that we had earlier. But then, you know, we've had Tiemet Marduk, GB and Zafso coming all together in the end there. It was a wonderful culmination of the race, and yeah, I did not expect the battle to be this close. I thought GB was going to be able to manage the gap, but Tiemet Marduk did great to reel him in on slightly worse tires, let's not forget. So incredible stuff from Tim Mardick, a well-deserved victory. But I gotta say, as much as that was a bit of a criticism on GB's ability to manage the race, at the same time it was his best result, and he put up a heck of a fight, and he should be very, very proud of this P2.
Yeah, and we're going to bring him in for a chat as well, folks, because he certainly does deserve it. A stellar performance, certainly a stellar drive from a man who's obviously already won here at the Creator Series, but it's the first time he's won since Britain, nonetheless. Benjamin Daly, you join us here in the commentary box. What a superb drive. You were patient. You waited until the very end, of course, the dying laps, to take the lead of the race. Despite the severity of the safety car in this race, you managed it pretty well, I would say.
Yeah, managed it fairly well. It was a really hard-fought battle with GB. He was so quick, and I actually thought I'd maybe thrown it away, but had a slight tyre disadvantage, and I did my best to try and overcome that. He got through the traffic really well, and I was maybe too patient in the pack midway through the race, but we just got away with it. I discovered track limits a little bit more in the last stint, and that certainly, I think, made the difference in going back in DRS, and yeah, just got it done from there. That was such a tense race.
Well, you've had to obviously suffer the delight of Alex Gillen taking race wins, I think, for the first 3 occasions, so it must mean a lot to take the 4th one when he's not here. Obviously, there's still a title charge on the table. Could this be the start of the great Ben Daly fight back?
Hopefully. There might be 1 or 2 weeks mid-April that are not looking good for me, attendance-wise, but I'll do our best to be present. And yeah, I need more performances like this. Alex has got a big lead, and he's very consistent, as we've seen. So yeah, got to keep up this for the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely. And the pace looked pretty strong. How was working with the setup? Because we had changeable conditions. Was it easy out there, or was it difficult in places?
So I went full dry setup, 0-0 wings, full aggressive with the suspension, and in the rain, I felt super comfortable. I was actually hoping the inters would last way longer, because I felt comfortably quite quick and stable with those conditions somehow. But then when it went dry, I was like, oh, this is going to be a bit tougher. But yeah, bring on more rain, please.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we've seen a lot of it through the Creator Series, and it has actually produced quite a few big moments with safety cars. I mean, we had no less, I think, than 5 safety cars in this race, which was just simply astonishing. I say it's astonishing. It happens almost every week now. But, I mean, obviously, when it comes to moments like that, was there any point during that there's that series of safety cars we had out where you thought that perhaps the strategy was in doubt and the race win might be in doubt?
Yeah, when I was struggling to get through the traffic, like Durkin and Fratic and those guys, I was being super patient. And then GB was like 2 seconds behind me, and he rolled up onto the back of me and overtook me with the fresher tyres. He stopped on the safety car after me, and I was like, oh, have I made a mistake here? But yeah, in hindsight, I thought the safety car, the second last safety car, was going to be the last one. But then we had another one. It's just so hard to predict. These clustered safety cars in the middle of the race. It's just the Bermuda Triangle trying to navigate the right strategy to get to the end.
It certainly is. I mean, obviously now, looking ahead, you mentioned there's going to be some absences, but still some opportunities for some big points. Positive vibes, though? Feeling good?
Yeah, feeling good. It's good to get the monkey off my back and have a good race where I don't make any silly mistakes. So, yeah, sim racing is a massive confidence thing, and hopefully I can build on this heading into my home race.
Absolutely, and we'll look forward to it without a shadow of a doubt. But congratulations and savour the win as well. You've got one over Alex Gillen this time.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
See you guys next week.
Thank you, Ben. Take it easy, my friend. Next up, we're going to bring in the man, the myth, the legend, none other than the man who was fighting for the race win. It is, of course, none other than GB68. GB, what happened? You nearly took it home. You nearly got the race win, but it just wasn't to be. I bet you're gutted.
Yeah. I am gutted. I knew I had the pace. I was saying coming into this one that I felt really confident in Monza, and managing the battery as well, just trying to make sure that I could see when Ben was kind of eking it a little bit out, and just trying to manage that as best I could, keep that 1 second gap. The problem at the end is I don't really know what happened. I kept it tight at Parabolic. I had a little switch on the rear, corrected it, and that of course put him 2-3 tenths behind. So difficult to defend from that down the main straight with DRS.
Yeah, I mean, it was a super drive from yourself because obviously, as I said to Ben, it was a guessing game out there with the amount of safety cars. We had the conditions, throw a curveball as well, very changeable. The track went from wet to dry reasonably quickly. It was a case of who I suppose was on point, who was quickest in terms of their wits in pitting. But yeah, you seemed to manage it well. I mean, what were the confidence levels throughout the race? Was there a moment where you were doubting your strategy in many ways?
No, to be fair, well, as you said, I mean, it was kind of a dice roll as to what was going to happen with the safety cars. I think on the final one, it just felt right to box. I think mediums must have been about 30 at that point. Look, it's 30-something laps remaining, and just felt that mediums would kind of nicely make that to the end. Fortunately, Meraki and Liam and a few others obviously stayed out. And then from then, it was just all about a massive safety car restart in P9 and just get through the pack as quick as you can and put the laps down. So, yeah. It's P2, it's great points, but I'm frustrated. That was a definite win that should have been.
Yeah, it was on the table, it was on the cards, and it looked like you were going to hold on as well because you were keeping that DRS gap pretty much towards the end, like staying outside of that second to make sure that Ben couldn't close up to you. Was that kind of the plan? I'll keep Ben behind as far as possible in terms so you can't get the DRS essentially.
Exactly. Yeah, I could kind of see. You can tell when the driver behind is just using a little bit out of corners, maybe just gaining on the straights. And every time that happened, I would just try and nail the next corner and get the battery down again. So it was working well until that mistake at the end, unfortunately.
Yeah, but then obviously this must give you a bout of confidence knowing that you could obviously, first of all, lead the race and then also be in the fight at the end as well. So moving on to Australia, high confidence.
Absolutely, and look, it's Ben's hometown, so I think it's only right that I beat Ben at Australia, right?
Absolutely, you've got to get your own back somehow, haven't you? So there we go. So yeah, brilliant to hear, and congratulations on the P2, very well deserved, and we'll look forward to seeing how you get on at Melbourne.
Cheers, guys. Catch you next week.
Will do. Thank you very much, GB. Great stuff indeed. We have got someone else joining us as well. That being, of course, that man of Dirk Chocolate. Of course, we'll get him in now in a moment. But to say the least, Badgerman, you must obviously digesting that result. I think there's an opportunity to come back here for GB.
Yeah, I think so too. It should be confidence-inducing. It should give him plenty of things to take away from here that are positive. And so I do think we're going to see an even better GB next week at Melbourne.
Yeah, we certainly will. Dirk Chocolate will now be joining us here in the commentary box as well. Dirk, I tell you what a performance. I'm very quick to praise you when you do well because I think you deserve it sometimes because you do get the hard edge of the game on the odd occasion. So it's great to see you up in the top 10. And yourself and Emphatic as well. Big points for Red Bull.
Yeah, decent weekend. Funny enough, the weekend I've done the least amount of practice on at all. Like, I did one lap, I think, yesterday, and I did like a couple of laps today, and I was like, oh, I'm mudded today. And it ended up being my best race so far. I stayed out of trouble.
Yeah, that was simply it, wasn't it? We didn't see any Dirk incidents. And I was like, hang on a minute, am I seeing things correctly? Is my timing tower working? Yeah, no, you were fine.
No?
Yeah, especially when we had so many safety cars, somehow you dodged every single moment.
I think it was always behind me or right at the front of me. Every time, so I had a couple moments where I was side by side, and I was like, you know what, this isn't worth it. I just pulled out, and then everything just kept on happening around me. I was driving along, just kind of listening to my music, enjoying myself. It was beautiful. It was bliss, actually.
Yeah, it's like a Sunday drive, just pottering along around the track of Monza. Obviously, lots on the table already. Points, first of all, which is major for you. Wasn't the best Q1, though, was it?
So, no. No, it wasn't. I was having a lot of tech issues as per the norm, and I only got 2 laps in. I didn't get any other laps before. I didn't do any quality practice at all. I just kind of went, I know it was going to go bad. But the practice laps I did do were all in the wets, because I knew I can adjust better in the wets into the dries than the other way around. So I was like, you know what? I'll be okay in the race as long as I stay out of trouble and get the overtakes in. So it worked. It did work.
Yeah, master of the changeable conditions. It was brilliant. And also, you got your own back on Emphatic as well after he spanked you in 2-player career mode yesterday. So I bet that feels good too.
You know what? He always likes to go and beat you in the Create Series. I'm the number 1 Red Bull driver. Now he's got nothing.
Yeah.
Now he's got nothing. Tomorrow we'll race again. I'm going to beat him there again, and they'll just be like, now what? What can you say?
Yeah.
Nothing. So I think I'm starting to firm my spot in my team.
Yeah, Red Bull's #1. You've heard it here first, folks. It is Dirk Chocolate. What a phenomenal result, my friend. Looking forward to Australia?
Looking forward to Australia. I do well in fast circuits. Mid to high speed circuits are a bit of me, so it's going to be catered to me, and hopefully it just means that I'll do well there again. I think I'm going to aim for top 5. We'll see.
Magic. Well, we'll look forward to seeing that happen as well, and I will be sat there dumbfounded when it does happen too. So wonderful. Congratulations, Dirk. Great points, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, mate. See you boys soon.
Yes.
Bye, Badger.
Thank you, Dirk.
Bye.
Awesome job, my friend. Awesome job. That's Dirk Chocolate, everybody. Badgerman, he is absolutely elated with that, and I think he has every right to as well. Certainly given the fact that he's had a few challenging races, of course, in the Creators Series. Nothing ever seems to go Dirk Chocolate's way. But today, it just hooked up for him. It was great.
Yeah, not just that. I mean, he did the longest stint of any driver in the field today. 38 laps. Granted, some of those were with safety cars, but 38 laps on those medium tires. Normally, they last, I think, 30 around the same. Let me check just to make sure. Yeah, they last 30, and the safety cars really did quite a bit of work there for him. But still, he finished with 80% tire wear on that rear left. This can go a very different way if that tire bursts at 75.
Goodness
Then he's
me.
not finishing P6, he's finishing potentially outside the points, quite frankly. So, in this case, a little bit of luck, but also a lot of willingness to take a risk, and it pays off. So, Dirk has every right to celebrate today.
Well, first, before we go speaking to this next chap, I just want to say a big thank you to Tiamat Mardek, Ben Daly for the raid. Absolutely sensational. Over 500 of you joining us here at the Creator Series. Blimey. Big one welcome to all the Ben Daly supporters. Welcome to the Creator Series. We have got another man joining us here in the commentary booth. It is none other than last season's champion. It's Zafso. Zafso. Incredible results, podium once again, and I have to tell you, probably one of the more impressive drives, considering that you had a lot of time to gain back to your teammate for even hold on to P3, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think I got lucky with the strategies. Jake going for the softs. I think you said he missed it after the end. It was not the right way to go. The medium strat that me, Ben, and GB did clearly worked very well. And yeah, it would have been a much more comfortable race at the end if I didn't have lag that put me out of his DRS, and then I had to work literally the rest of the race to work back into it.
Yeah,
and then
I mean, obviously your pace was on point because, like you say, you had the gap towards the end. I wasn't sure how well your tyres would keep on going towards the end because obviously there was a point where you started dipping out from Ben's pace, but then you clawed it all back for the grand finale. You were there in the mix and not far off a second out. So. Do you think another lap allowing, you might have been well within a chance, or in with a fight for a P1 perhaps? If say, should we say another couple, maybe 3 laps were added to the race?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one more lap because I think it was lap 40 or so, might even been a little before that, I realised I had to do something a bit different to try and bring that gap down. So I had to use a few laps to save up the ERS, do a big burst of it, that gave me a few tenths. Save it up again, burst, save it again and burst. So the fact that I was at the end within DRS and I no longer had to do that, definitely one more lap, and the fact that the tyres still felt very good at the end, I definitely think I would have had a crack at it. But if there wasn't more laps, there were the required laps, and at least one of the McLarens won, so
absolutely.
Not a bad day in the office.
Yeah, well, no, and well, Team McLaren's on the podium, which is a great place to be. I mean, also, you know, looking forward, I mean, you are the Creator Series current champion. You've just taken another podium. Australia, what are the thoughts and vibes?
I think that's going to heavily depend on who turns up. I think not having the likes of Gillen and Ale here helped a lot. I think if neither of them turn up again next week, definitely another podium along the lines. I realise I've actually got P5, P4, P3 so far this season, so that's going to mean at least a P2 next time out.
If only that's how it works.
Very true.
If only that's how it works.
By sheer percentages, it must pan out that way. No, you're absolutely right. But no, I love the confidence, and I hope you do bounce back. We love a bit of Zafso on the podium, so congratulations, my friend, on achieving that. And we'll look forward to seeing how you get on at Australia as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Incredible.
I do have one more question.
Oh,
Hold on.
fire away, Patrick. Fire away.
So, you started P14.
Okay, here we go.
You know what I'm getting at. What happened? What was going on?
What happened?
There,
I love it.
Yeah, I was worried that was going to ask. I was almost relieved you hadn't.
Sorry.
See, I'm the nice one.
No.
He's the evil one.
He's got to get every scrap of data he can get his hands on.
Naughty cop, nice cop. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the dynamic here.
it was just a really, really awful mistake from me. I wasn't holding onto my wheel quite tight, enough. And I've been having lag issues and such with the game, and every time like the screen has a little stutter or a freeze, it like almost mega triggers my force feedback. And because I wasn't really tightly holding onto the wheel, I kind of lost control of the moment. And when I was trying to correct it, into the wall we went. So
so you got a screen freeze during the tire warm up there, and that's what triggered it.
yeah, but also I should have been holding onto the wheel tighter. I was far too relaxed at that point. So
I mean, fair
got to
enough,
get ironclad gloves for next week.
I mean, if that works, yeah, but might be worth to look into the screen freezes because you had I saw at least 2 during the race. I don't know how many you had, but I saw one.
Oh, I had
in
a
the
fair
race.
few, yeah.
Yeah, I think if those don't happen, we might see you in a different position on the podium.
Yeah, definitely. Being able to keep in Ben's CRS today would have helped a lot, but it is what it is. We move forward. Time for Australia now.
There we go.
All right.
You heard it here first, folks. Time for Australia, and it certainly will be next week. Well done to Zafso on a superb podium, of course, last season's champion. And looking ahead, I think he has a lot of reasons to be excited. Excited, obviously, if he heeds Badgerman's advice and fixes those screen freezes. But, folks, it has been a sensational broadcast. You guys have been absolutely superb. I tell you what, if you haven't done so already, make sure you leave a follow to this channel. You guys have been relentless on that. Big thank you to all the viewers for tuning in, and I think we got very close to hitting 200 live viewers for the first time here in this championship. So I'm so overjoyed that you guys are enjoying it. Please make sure that you check out the socials as well. If you're enjoying it here, you might enjoy it over there. Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as TikTok. Lots of stuff gets uploaded there. Updates, reveals, videos, you name it. We've got all sorts. There might be a meme compilation coming again soon as well. So you want to stay tuned for that. And at F1 Creator Series, you can see the tags above. Badgerman knows that the Will Buxton comparisons are going to be coming out a lot more now, unfortunately. But yes, if you want to check me out as well, at George Morgan TV on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. That is where you can find me. Badgerman, where can they find you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm at Badgerman TV on Twitter.
Not at Will Buxton.
Yes.
No, okay, sorry.
That's my burner account. No,
that's your burner account. Sorry, hit it again. Go on.
Yeah, at Badgerman TV on Twitter, at Badgerman here on Twitch, and I just put my YouTube link in the channel. I hope that shows.
Certainly does.
There we go. Wonderful. So yeah, I've got a bunch of videos coming on F1 Manager, F1 engineering side of things, and have had a couple of those videos already. And you can see there right now, actually, what I did during the Bahrain Grand Prix Creator Series, where I wasn't in the booth, where I was engineering curbs. You can actually watch that quick 20-minute compilation of what exactly was going on and what kind of role I was filling for that race.
Yeah, well, there you go, folks. Make sure you check those out. The stat man here at the end of the day. He certainly is the encyclopedia of the Creator Series. Make sure you check out his clips. Very, very knowledgeable stuff, too. It's well worth a watch. But, folks, it's been sensational. I tell you what, the hills, certainly the track here at Monza, it was alive with the sound of F1 engines. Do tune in next time when we go racing at Melbourne around the Albert Park circuit for the F1 Creator Series Australian Grand Prix. It's been a pleasure having every single one of you join us here this evening. We'll see you next Saturday for yet more action. Take care. Goodbye.